Hello. Hey, what's up?
Hey, man.
Hey. So we're back again for another episode of the Backyardi'Yinz, the Pittsburgh Backyard Wrestling Podcast, and we're here with all the boys today. I normally like to go across the room, but I'm going to switch it up and go to the left this time.
Ooh,
like
I got time to think.
Exactly. That's what I was doing.
Now you know what it's like.
100% honest. That's what I was doing for you. So to my left, we have Steve. Hello.
How's it going?
It is great. Great to have you back. I have a question.
Yeah.
What is an early childhood video game that you used to play a lot? But don't come at me with no like Call of Duty or Madden or anything. Like I don't want no yearly games. Give me like a game.
The first video game I ever played, I was actually just talking about this the other day, was Super Mario. And I also had Mario Paint. I don't know how I acquired a Super Nintendo because I remember the first time playing Super Mario World, my mind was blown that I was controlling the character.
Hell yeah.
Like, I just couldn't, like, I'd never played an arcade game, never played a video game, so why I ended up with one, I don't know, but, you know, really put it into perspective of how crazy life is.
And you said Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
So, actually, quite hilariously, I just talked with my mom about this because I grew up poor as shit, but for some reason, we had a Super Nintendo, and I remember my grandparents had money, and they just had the regular Nintendo, so for no reason, I just asked my mom, like, 2 days ago, like, how the fuck did we have a Super Nintendo? Like, we were poor, and she's like, what's a Super Nintendo? Okay, yeah, I get it. To his left,
Oi.
we have Dominic. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey, hi, hello, it's you, the Dom fellow. So what video game did you play when you were younger?
Okay. I guess I'll go way back. And also revisit the Super Nintendo because that was in my house. Killer Instinct.
Great game. I was going to bring that up as a possibility.
And it, you know what was cool about it is so it was a black cartridge, and then it came with a CD with all of the theme songs for the characters. And I would listen to that shit on Halloween. It was awesome.
I still have the cardboard sleeve that CD came in.
Wow. Same.
Yeah.
I didn't have the box of the game, so I bought a remade box, like a fake box for it, just so I could rebox the game. And then I put the CD in the box.
There you go.
Because I have problems.
To his left, the Champ J Pizzle.
Yeah, man. I'm not going to throw it back as far, but I remember specifically playing GoldenEye.
Yeah, great game.
Oh,
absolutely.
Dude, you get the gold, what is it, the Desert Eagle? Gold Eagle?
Yeah.
Woo!
One-shotter.
Yeah.
You ever play Slappers Only?
No.
No, you didn't.
You
don't
want
to.
I don't know what that means.
You just walk around the map with just your hand and just...
Oh, I would love to play that.
So N64, right? That's where GoldenEye came out. I was more of a PlayStation kid growing up. I did a lot of the classics like, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, Tony Hawk, that kind of stuff. But my favorite childhood game was Oddworld.
Never heard of it.
Remember? So, like, if I'm remembering the storyline correctly, there's people, like, taking over his planet and turning his people into food or something along those lines. And it's like a level walking platformer. Like, you walk through the level, side-scrolling like Mario, jumping up and down, moving around with this weird-looking, like, alien dude with his mouth sewn shut. Don't remember?
That sounds so familiar.
It's very cool.
That's because it's a true story.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. This isn't an old game. It's probably within the last 10 years. But PlayStation, I don't know if they ever had it. I know Xbox did, but they need to bring it in. Viva Pinata.
Viva Pinata.
I've heard of that. I've never played it.
Dude, it's an amazing game. You literally you basically have a farm, and like if you have 30% water, certain water pinatas show up, and you got to do certain little goals to keep them, and then they're on your farm. If you have dirt, you get dirt animals that are pinatas, and you got to keep them, and it's a fun game.
Hell
and
yeah,
they need
bro.
to bring it back.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Viva Pinata.
Do you guys recognize this guy, Oddworld?
No.
Never seen him before in my life.
Yeah, it's a hell of a thing, man.
I don't
didn't
ever want to
think
see
many
him
people would
again.
see it. It's got to be popular enough. I mean, there were sequels and such, but that was my game for sure.
He kind of looks like that backpack kid that does the fucking... You know what I'm talking about?
And once again, we start the Nostalgia Podcast with a little nostalgia, and then we roll on to our backyard wrestling stories.
Actually,
I'm
going to jump ahead, and I brought a gift that I told you to remind me. It's been sitting in my trunk.
Yeah.
Did you say GIF?
Gifts, maybe. There might be more.
I thought he was going to pull out a meme.
Wait, with a yeah, that's what I. Wait, is it? I'm still not sure.
These are packing peanuts. These aren't the gift.
I love
that
packing
shows
peanuts.
The effort that I put into this.
Absolutely.
So first off, we have the most improved backyard wrestling.
Hell yeah.
He came with an award.
That's
This is
so
sick.
cool.
We have the best wrestling show hangouts of the year awarded to BYS1. Rick, I'll give that to you.
Oh,
Hell
no,
yeah.
you know what? This is you, though, man. Well, Hangout show's all about you.
I got more
awards
to give out.
This is sick.
Get a good look at
Get
those.
that in the camera, bro.
Get in the camera. Get in the camera.
The best wrestling show of the year 2009 goes to BYS2.
Woo,
Wow.
This is so sick, dude.
Yeah, this is badass.
Is the logo on there?
Yes. The cleaned up
Unfortunately, he is not here to accept his award. We have the Wrestler of the Year 2009 going to
Bang.
one Hack Edgerman.
Yes.
Hack,
Yes.
He won't even watch this.
Okay, so I'm not going to show the camera these right now, but I am going to take HD pictures of these and throw them up on the podcast.
And last
Fuck
but not
yes.
least, we have, they are not here. They don't live in Pittsburgh, but just know that we do have an award for the Match of the Year 2009.
Yeah, give it up to Steve.
God,
Going to both Beast Snow and Twisted Outcast.
That is fucking
Respectfully.
dope, bro.
Hell
That
yeah.
is so cool. Especially after what Lee said about wishing we had some type of little memorabilia. This is very nice, dude. This is sick. I'm a big fan of this one, particularly the wrestling show of 2009. And it would have been really cool if we would have talked about what was the best wrestling show of 2009. But I kind of jumped the gun because I got way too excited about Ed.
We talked about 2009 for a long
A
time.
long time. Eventually, we were going to miss something, and unfortunately, it was an award. But thank you so much for that. That is super fucking sick. That Hangouts one definitely goes to you because that was all about you. And what was all about, particularly JP, I mean, he drove us there. He's been waiting to tell this story since we started the podcast. We will start today's episode with Just Another Super Show 4 in Mount Gilead, Candlewood, Ohio.
Wow.
Once again, going back to the Beast Snow and the Shadow and the Catonic and the Tony Sheets and the DC Doom and the Justin Beach. This particular show happened in January. So now that we're done with 2009, we cannot wait to have another Super Show. It's just like all that shit happened. Fuck February, March, out of the question.
Let's go.
January. Like, yeah, right. But before that, also in January, leading up to Just Another Super Show 4, there was a new forum created for the backyard wrestling people.
Bum.
Spot Monkey was my baby. I started it because I was so sick of Cam giving power to people on GBYWN who were only in it for themselves. They were only self-serving. They wanted to moderate their friends' stuff and delete what they wanted to delete and pin what they wanted to pin. And I decided that, like, all these other communities are out of my hands and shit keeps happening. Like, the link was assholes. GBYWN is the wrong person in charge because Cam wasn't even part of our community.
Right, yeah, no one had even met him at that point.
Exactly. Like, he had a lot of, like, he talked with Matt Nix and Rad Hazard and the such and communicated with them, but he didn't come to a single show. He wasn't one of us. So he would give power to people that he perceived to be one of us, and it would end up being like the Chad and DC Doom and just like people that didn't necessarily need to have any type of moderation powers on the internet.
So you were like, wait a minute, why am I listening to this guy? I'm just going to go make another thing
forum,
and make it like a almost like freedom for all kind of thing. That's
exactly
that's dope.
And with that came a little bit of like, who's going to follow me, right? But whenever you're the 2009 Backyard Wrestling Fed of the Year, people kind of want to see what you're up to and see what you have coming up in the future. So it really wasn't hard to get people to join us on Spot Monkey. And when I say us, I mean me and the champ JP, because he was one of my admins. It was just me and him. We gave mods out to some people here and there, whatever. But this was essentially mine and JP's forum to run. And people joined us.
You guys had a baby together, and it was a
To
little
this
monkey.
day, I have never seen, met, or anything of Cam.
Right.
He's just an imaginary person in my head.
I believe Matt Nix met him.
No pictures, nothing.
I have no
I
idea
think
who Cam
actually
is.
Josh met him as well.
Really?
Yeah, when he was down in North Carolina on an indie booking.
This is the page. The administrators, Sick Rick and JP, and the moderators, Beast Snow, Ian Finnegan, Marcus Santafonte, Jonathan Hitler, and Tech. Very, like, spread out.
Yeah,
but it's also clear that I was, like, giving certain people some powers to get them to fucking come over here. Like, bring your people. Me and JP got this thing that we're doing, right? Fuck Tony Danza. I don't know what that means. But there's a page on here where JP discusses the spot monkey rules. I'm going to see if I can run into this real quick while we're at
If
it.
there's anybody that knows how to establish rules and maintain a professional attitude.
Go back to where you just were, Rick. What
Is that you?
What am
Can
I
you
wearing?
zoom in on this
It's
stuff?
not wrong though. I am 32.
Right, yeah.
it probably enters your birth year.
Wow.
Shit.
You joined Spot Monkey on January 1st.
January
Or
24th.
January 24th of 2010. So what are some of your rules that you had, JP?
Let's see here. Rule number 1. Edit your post. No double post, triple post. You get a warning. Keep on going. We'll decide whether spelled weather wrong. Whether you get a short ban or not.
Oh, don't double post or JP's banning your
I'm
ass.
banning you, man. Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb.
I
Don't be
love
dumb.
the authentic, actual rule to a message board.
Oh, yeah.
like
Are you going to tell that guy no? Because I'm not.
Let's see. Rule number 2. If capitalized, you think you can come in here, post media, get feedback, and leave, you're sadly mistaken. You're either a part of the community or you're not. Post media, give feedback. Watch media, give feedback.
I fucking love that.
That's
sentence.
good.
Like, that was laying down the law right there.
Hell yeah.
So one of the funnier ones up here is the Clayton Cross rule.
Yeah, I remember he used to do that. JP, do you want to read that out loud?
Yeah, so
I'm so excited.
Rule number 6 is the Clayton Cross rule. If you reply to media, do not just say cool or that was good. Give reasons why.
JP's like, post a paragraph or don't fucking post. Like, nobody wants to read cool.
Your feedback only matters. Your feedback only matters if it's good.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's a nothing burger. That's like, can I give the least possible amount of effort so I don't get banned?
Love it. What's the Devin Caleb rule?
Devin/Caleb rule. Rule number 5. Egos, get the fuck out.
Why did you name it that?
I guess Devin and Caleb had an ego. I
It's
don't know.
probably because of Catonic, just like the show was. But yeah, so JP had a little list of rules, and I co-signed it there. I just said yes. I'm like,
Well, that didn't
You
follow
fucking
the Kate
broke the
Claus.
rules.
Yeah, you broke one of the rules there.
I think that maybe that was the joke.
You broke rule number
Maybe
6.
I'm not
maybe
laughing.
That was the maybe that was the joke.
I'm not laughing. It's serious
But
shit.
but
Should've
either way,
banned
so
him.
yeah, that
Should've
was
banned him.
what we were trying to get across
Right.
on this forum, right? And people came with us, man. This was not some side forum that we thought we were like escaping to. It ended up becoming pretty much the main one where information was shared between the people that we actually fucking cared about. Because GBYWN had 1,000 members and 700 of them didn't talk and 200 of them didn't come to the shows and 100 and whatever is all that's left. Those are the people that ended up coming to here.
Right,
the people
right.
that were actually part
People
of the
that were
community.
active.
This forum popped up right before Just Another Super Show 4 in Candlewood, Ohio. So there's got to be a Super Show listing here, but I'm blind right there. So this is what a thread used to look like when someone would announce a Super Show. They would give you the dates, the place, what's going down, what's happening, name of the show, all this stuff. Sometimes it would have an invite list. Most of the time it would just have a confirmed list, and that would be about it. But this is Just Another Super Show 4's list, and it is for January 30th and 31st at the CBYW base in Mount Gilead, Ohio. And that's pretty much all the information we needed, right?
Yeah.
We were ready to go no matter what the weather, and the weather was the fucking weather.
Trash.
And yeah, one of the things that I remember visually, if you look at the video, it was predicted to be very, very cold that weekend. And I remember we kind of like put our foot down and was like, no, like you need to put the base in that barn because it was going to be a cold one. And props to the Ohio crew for actually getting together and moving the base into the barn. Why they did it in the first place, I don't know. But
that's something I brought up to Brandon at JAS2 whenever it was raining. I was like, can we just move the base in the barn? And he's like, I don't know.
Right.
Do you think you could figure it out? And then we just didn't even try.
For those that don't know, the barn was an actual legit barn, but like there was like a second level and then there was like a complete flat area, but it was like full with like a bunch of shit. Like it didn't have animals or anything. It was just like just shit that was accumulating. And like I know that it had to be a lot of work to move it. So the fact that they did, that definitely took work. But looking back with the power of the internet, I was curious about what the temperature was because I remember it being one of the coldest weekends of my entire life. And doing some research, I found that on January 30th and 31st, respectively, the first one, day one, had a high of 25 degrees Fahrenheit with an 18 mile per hour wind.
Not surprised.
With day two being a toasty 31 degrees Fahrenheit with also 18 mile per hour wind. I don't know what the wind chill was. I couldn't find that information, but I'm sure it, with that wind, because Ohio's pretty flat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it was freezing. And I remember after, I want to say it was day one, we would rush to the car just to warm up, like we were waiting for matches.
Yeah, there would be like taking turns. Like, now that me and Ed sat in the car last match, now you can go sit in the car for a little bit. And it was always like priority to somebody getting changed for their match or whatever.
Right.
But there was a lot of taking turns getting in and out of the car and watching whatever match you can. And a lot of people showed up there booked and didn't wrestle. Like JP and Ed both went to the show, didn't wrestle either day. And like, who could fucking blame them? Like, honestly, if I didn't have the match that I did day one, I don't know if I would have followed through with it.
I remember I brought like gloves and like hand warmers and feet warmers because they're like, I was like, I need to prepare for this.
And we knew going in what we were getting ourselves into, right? Dominic, have you ever wrestled outside when it was cold as shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was snow on the ground one time.
Oh, that's right, huh? So
nothing worse than a frozen base.
Nothing worse.
Yeah.
So one of the good things about Ohio in general is their barn looked really fucking cool, but it did save our ass for this show, no doubt about it. So here we have Just Another Super Show 4, day one. We'll jump right into the media.
I'm excited to watch this.
So,
you made this video?
I initially made this video. So what we're going to see right now, though, is a chopped and screwed version of the video where I just, once again, did the same thing that I did with Indiana, where I took all of our stuff out. And by all of ours, I mean just mainly mine and yours. And played the rest of the video through. And I don't have Nutters full, which I wish I did. But we could talk about some of the matches that happened that day. So the main one here is Jimmy Nutter versus FX. And I remember Nutter being very excited to do this match.
Yeah.
Because FX was getting like shit on at the time. Like, people were not fans of FX, and Nutter's like, I'm gonna fuck him up.
Yeah.
Like, I am gonna beat the shit out of
Legitimately?
him. Right? So he was working with him, but it was one of those things like, we're both gonna fight each other.
Yeah.
Did he know he was going to be stiff though?
Probably. Yeah, I think FX even did a promo at one point earlier in the day, just being like, hey, I know people don't like me, but no one's here, no one's going to say anything. And Nutter jumped up. He's like, I'll say it right now. I don't like you. It was obviously that was the plan.
Yeah.
But it felt really organic. And there was I want to say
Yeah,
a bit
right.
of authentic animosity for how much Ness was rubbing people the wrong way, and
Interesting.
why Nutter of all people was the one to get the most fed up with it. I don't know.
Big nuts, I guess.
I'm sure he'll let us know down in the comments because he watches every episode like a G. There's him getting curb stomped into a fucking tree.
Jesus.
Does he talk
German
about his
onto a
nuts on
ladder.
his podcast?
No, it's because it's a nut work.
That's funny.
That's the name of it. The fantasy nut work.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
That's who else was on this? So we got some DC Doom and Cody the Shadow Jacobs and some X-Cow and some Happy Psycho. First time meeting Happy Psycho. He was a big fan of Old Sick Rick. There was some Anthony Lee in there. There was some Chris Breakdown there. A bunch of stuff going on. So this is not part of the music video I made, but Tyron worked hard on his part. And I remember this match being crazy, so I wanted us to watch it. This is a triple threat TLC match between Chris Castle, Catonic, and the pen name.
How many times did Stacy get booked in a hardcore match in Ohio?
Every time.
Every time.
Every time. He wasn't at JAS 1.
Wasn't at
JAS 2
3.
was against me.
Yep.
Wasn't at JAS 3. JAS 4 was this one, and JAS 5 ends up being another ladder type.
Yep.
Crazy. Every time.
Typecasting him.
Didn't go to JAS 6 either, correct?
No. I forgot that show happened.
Right.
Oh, good landing. That was I know that sucked, but that looked very good. I'm glad it wasn't me.
Uh-oh.
You could tell how cold it is. Everyone's in hoodies and even
dude.
people wrestling in sweatshirts and that
Didn't
didn't
even
give it
break,
all.
yeah.
Yeah, that was rough.
So one of the things we haven't seen yet, and it was only a matter of time before it happens, is this. The barn was moved inside for the first time. Yeah.
What just happened?
So Tyron did a backflip at the same time Stacy dove off of the fucking balcony.
That loft was sick.
It was so
watching
sick.
From up there.
Great to watch from. Cool for spots, as we'll see this entire weekend long. And also, it lended itself to a vibe. It was like being in a fight pit whenever you were down in there. It was sick.
What did they use for a tarp?
He went far.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a tarp.
No, it's a canvas. It's
wow.
a canvas.
I was going to say, it looks slick.
Yeah.
Man, we should have probably invested in one of those.
Yeah,
with
right.
how many times we had.
I agree. Yeah. That was something I thought of. Like, we would always just wait until the problem came up and be like, oh, how do we fix this problem?
And then never, prevent it from happening.
Instead of, after BYS4, we could have just figured, okay, let's figure this out.
I think part of the problem was none of us had money.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, here's this. This is the coolest thing on this whole show.
This upset me so much.
I know why.
Oh.
That's a 630 out of the balcony.
Oh.
Not only that, but also a distance one at that.
Right, yeah.
Like, not just doing it like a risk.
He had to jump out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh.
Crazy. So here's Devin interfering, and I never figured out why.
Probably for their company.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But, we probably just weren't so invested in it.
Right.
Now, I will say, one of the things that I noticed about this is with the fact of people surrounding the base, it's hard, and I ran into it myself in a future show, hey, guys, I need to run beyond the base. Move.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. You want to, blasted him.
Yeah, because whenever you're... Oh, God
Is that a second one?
Yeah.
Jeez.
That was the top of the chair.
There's you
too.
carrying it away. He had it all fucking signed up and stuff, drawn on. His handwriting was really nice. Him and Devin always had really nice handwriting.
Who's that?
The pen name. All right, so that's the end of that match, and it was fucking insane. Not necessarily match of the day, but definitely the craziest shit that I seen over the course of the weekend,
Dom, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, I thought you were. Good. You know what? Don't even think about it.
I was just the chair.
Yeah.
It was haunted. That was crazy.
So this is me and Matt Nix. Is this the full?
Well, I clipped it down, yeah.
Right.
Was that you?
Yeah. Still kind of figuring out my look between the loner and
There's
the...
Matt.
I believe this is the first time I met Matt.
No, you met him in Indiana whenever you worked with Domi, but you probably didn't really interact with one another.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things about this match was, Nick and I were buddies, and we're really stoked to get to work with one another, but I knew how cold it was going to be, and I knew that day, too, I was in a tables match. So the idea going into this was, let's not bump at all. So we tried, I had the idea, but in execution, it really didn't come across. We didn't really build up to it. Well, we did, but it got fucked up. So you'll see that coming up. We're intentionally not necessarily taking bumps. We're rolling, we're mat working and stuff like that. And also because that was his,
exactly
ring work. I don't know what this is, probably one of those old swerves things that I do.
Yep.
Are you immediately following up that hardcore match?
That's a fantastic question.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
So right here, the first bump was supposed to take out the ref or something like that. And then he got up too quickly.
Yeah.
So it's we finally made that bump count. And then here's the pin. And then, it was, the ref was down. It's oh, fuck. Maybe it was this one. No, this was what it was supposed to be. I think it was actually because I remember Ruben bumped when he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, I might have cut it out because it looked bad, you know?
But that was the idea, is finally we're building up this, we're not bumping. Then finally, when it happens, the ref gets taken down.
It makes sense.
And I remember Ruben pre-bumped because he thought it was his turn.
Yeah, and that's why, this is crazy.
Oh, I forgot all about this.
Oh, my God.
Do you remember what it was like to be in the air at that time?
No, I forgot all about that until this very moment.
Genuinely, that's the kind of stuff I would not be willing to do because I just don't know how I'm going to land.
Yeah, it's you really have to trust who you're working with.
Were you really sure you were going to land in a good way, or were you let's just go for it?
No, that's usually how it is. Just let's go. I'm
You have an
18.
idea, you
I'm
do
going to
it.
live forever. There's no consequences.
Well, you're not wrong yet.
So one of the things about this match is I remember, you were saying at the time, and truth be told, a backyard show, it's hard to get over with a match not bumping.
Yeah.
Because that's like kind of part of the deal, right?
Yep.
Like sometimes that could be the only deal when it's perfectly fine. But if it's not involved in the deal whatsoever, it's almost like, come on, dude, do something more fun.
Right.
And at the time, I remember watching you guys and being like, just fucking do something. It's cold. Please. Like, give me
I
some.
hadn't considered that.
Give me a
feel
reason
that.
to have some fucking energy, please. And then you guys do at the end and you start hitting spots. But here we are 14 years later, and I'm sitting at my computer editing this match, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's so smart. Like, Nick's a mat worker, and he out-wrestled him the entire beginning, and then Steve kept getting out-wrestled to the point where he's like, you know what? I don't know where my head's at. We don't need to be doing this. Let's hug it out. And then he Folklands them and fucking rolls them up, and then they go into shit, and then they actually start hitting the moves. But the problem is that all that story built up happened in negative 74-degree wind chill, and I did not give a fuck about arm drags. I wanted to see somebody die, and I didn't get to see that until 11 minutes into the match, you know?
But it's funny because in the grand scheme of things, the whole idea, like I knew the day 2 booking was the tables match. I that's what I knew first going into this. It's like, okay, well, that's going to suck. I should probably preserve my body. And in the grand scheme of things, that was completely irrelevant.
Right.
Because it's a tables match. You go through one and it's over.
Exactly.
But
right.
I was thinking like, oh man, that's probably really going to hurt. As if I've never gone through plywood before. But I don't know. But that was, and then like, you know, we just kind of built off that. But that's where that original idea came from.
Especially from like a match on a show like this where there are very few top of the card people. Whenever it's like, oh shit, we get to see Folkland versus Matt Nix. What are they going to do? And the answer is play patty cake for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to see some spots, damn it.
To this day, I still feel like I haven't properly scratched the itch of working with Nick.
We'll talk about it later, but Backyard Wrestling, it's not dead yet. Coming to Pittsburgh near you sometime this year. Nick spoke to me about wanting to wrestle on the show that we have coming up this year. And he was like, you know, you're the only person from Awakening that I didn't get to wrestle. Like, and I was like, and we could maybe do something. I don't know if I'm doing anything, but like, it's the only match that I didn't get to have was against Nick. I never wrestled him in any capacity. So I would love to just straight up wrestle him on a one-time on the one.
And I know I came to you specifically with 2 matches in mind of matches that I never got to wrestle
Did I
with.
wrestle him?
Yeah.
Are you going to wrestle on that show?
Hey, what's up? Are you going to wrestle on that show?
Unless you're listening to
I
this
want
many years in the future, how good was that show?
How good
Oh,
was-
man.
So good.
Wow. Can you believe the fireworks? Pulled that off out of nowhere. That was a surprise.
So yeah, in hindsight, I like that match a lot more than I did standing in that fucking cold ass barn watching it. That's for sure. And I was excited to take a look back at it again, so I could give it some praise that it didn't necessarily get back then. The next match coming up though is a fucking hoot and a holler. Remember on episode 8, where we discussed I maybe had a little bit of a thing for Scott Henson.
I don't remember anything.
I remember
do.
that.
You see, JP remembers and you don't. That's how you know it's a problem.
I do remember this.
So, and I mentioned in that episode that maybe a couple other people had a couple of people that they liked that they maybe weren't quite as vocal about. Some of them were.
Right.
And so we decided to play off of that. And in the main event of day 1 of JAS 4, we have the debut of the Revival Championship. So we have Devin dressed as Andy, B. Snow dressed as Tommy Flambeau, and me dressed as Scott Henson to an extent. I mean, I'm wearing orange. But we kind of stole some of their moves, mixed them in with our moves, had ourselves a little tribute triple threat match for the first ever Revival Championship.
Yeah, and it's funny how like Devin is wearing my pants, Snow is wearing JP's pants.
Yep.
And I thought that was funny how much we ended up having.
So the other
involved in it.
day, I was texting you guys about watching all these shows.
Yeah.
And I was looking through, and I'm like, I don't fucking remember being in this match. And it was the thumbnail.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And I remember, so yeah, this was originally, so this is for the Revival Championship.
Yep,
Now,
the debut of it.
And originally, on
That was very
paper,
cool.
the idea was Ed being in this match instead of you. Do you remember that, Rick?
I don't remember.
Devin could flip.
Because it was the
Jeez.
bad timing there. The ICW champion, the CBYW
right.
champion,
Yes, I
and
do
SWC
remember.
champion.
Yes.
And then you kind of like strong-armed your way into it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I did
Like,
do
well, it
that.
doesn't make any sense.
Yep. No, that's 100% for sure. I wanted to be part of it.
Oh, what are you guys gonna do?
Yeah, I grabbed onto Devin there whenever I shouldn't have, and we
That
all
looked
went
like a
together.
tough thing, no matter what. Like going around like that with another
Right.
guy.
But like with the fact that you all play, like if it was just B Snow versus Devin versus Rick for the Revival Championship, I feel like it kind of would have flown under the radar in the sense of like, well, why isn't Ed in this?
Yeah.
He's the champion. But the fact that you played up the homages to the previous generation, it made it a little bit more of a spectacle.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we were going for. We wanted to give people a reason to watch it outside of just the Revival Championship.
Right.
And we were talking in the car on the way over here today about like sometimes when you have a match and you're not the one that plans all of it, sometimes you forget some shit. And if you are the one that planned all of it, maybe it's a little easier to remember. So I'm like 70% of this match came from me. And I was just spending most of the day just telling Brandon and Devin the spots over and over again. Like, we're doing this. And like, even in the match, there was some forgetting and some like, go find Rick, ask him what we're doing next. But all that stuff had me so lost to the point where there was a point in this match where I forgot to kick out.
Oh no, Rick, you were...
I've done that before.
Whole new Revival champion.
Yeah, it was Devin. Devin was on top of me.
Wow.
The ref goes 1, the ref goes 2, the ref goes 3, and then I go... my shoulder was up, dude. You just missed it. And everybody's like, yeah, we just missed it. Yeah, your shoulder was definitely up.
But that's the thing. Like, whenever this that happened, it was never like it's like, oh, yeah, guys, I fucked up.
Yeah,
you could just
right.
do it again, you know?
Yep, gets taken out of the music video real easy.
Obviously, you
Hatchet driver into the knees. There wasn't a lot of knees there to do it into.
Why is Devin wearing fishing gloves?
Probably so that whenever he hooks me for this, he feels like a good man.
His hands were cold, man.
This
It
was
was
the
20
worst.
degrees.
I believe that was the second most damaging thing to ever happen to me. So, yeah that one really
Only up
sucked.
from here. Jesus.
And then Brandon was trying to put this over his finisher at the time. So that was all three of them boys. Personally, I don't necessarily have like the fondest feelings for this match. It's cool that we did it, and it's cool that we got the main event and got to be in the first ever Revival Championship match and all that stuff. All real cool.
I thought it looked good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even on camera and coming away from the weekend, people really like the match in general. I had no love for it.
Right. In hindsight, I was thinking, we probably should have gave Devin the championship instead of Snow, just because of the fact that it was like so obvious that Snow was the guy.
Yeah.
That Devin would have benefited from it. But at the same time, it was kind of like the aspect of, well, will we see Devin at every show?
Yeah, we knew that we could count on Snow to always be there.
Yeah.
Where I think Devin might have still been 17. Like, he was younger. He might have still been doing school stuff. I'm not sure.
I remember randomly in that match, just you were like standing there doing something, or maybe not doing something, and I noticed that you were just wearing just a bright orange shirt. And you remember what I said? I said, Rick looks like a giant pumpkin. And for some reason, I must have said it at like the quietest time in the match because the entire barn started laughing. And I was like, oh, fuck, I did not mean for that to be as loud as it was. That was just an observation. And I was really worried that I upset you.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't remember it, so obviously it wasn't that big of a deal to me. But luckily for us, we have some pictures that might lend us some viewing stuffs. So this was from our trip to Just Another Supershow 4.
This looks like a Eminem rap album cover.
That's why Ed used it as his
hardest
profile
picture
forever.
I ever took of Ed.
Ed is super sick. His lips are hella chapped.
That's all right. It was cool.
But yeah, so all these came from your camera, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I just got a small digital camera for Christmas at this point. It was just a point and click. Like there's an old GPS. Kids don't know what GPS is. Just use your phone. No, okay? Clips onto the windshield, okay? That's what it's like. You can't just say, hey, I want to...
Is this an iPod?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
There's the hat from your profile picture over there. And this was a very common sight to see JP driving and me playing the fat card to sit shotgun. It was really easy to do.
You love to see it.
The Igloo.
That doesn't even exist anymore.
No. We were the last group to graduate
Speaking
there.
of RIP Three River Stadium,
Yeah.
it's the 25-year
RIP.
anniversary of it getting shut down. So
I remember watching it live on TV, drinking root beer out of
Dodge.
glass
the
bottles.
old Dodge, bro. This car, we put way too many miles on it, did a lot of weird things in it. It was a lot of good times. That's Ed's new favorite picture of all time. I think he said that he's going to put it as his background and like frame it and put it in his... he's going to put it in his bathroom right next to that award that he got for being the wrestler of the year. Look at those guys.
I remember this picture.
I do too. I used it for a long time. Very good quality. And this is like, we didn't really have good quality photos too often back
4K
then.
did not exist back then. High def didn't even... Well, I think high def video existed back then, but it was without our reach.
All right, Dominic, which one is Nutter? Yeah, you're correct.
Is that kid's name? Is his name Steve?
It is, yeah.
Oh, I recognized him.
But similar, right? Especially with the exact same glasses and hoodie on.
Oh yeah.
What's going on with his hand?
Yeah, he probably. I noticed that he probably had his hand in his pocket.
Yeah.
Because it was so cold.
Yeah.
And that's why his hand is red.
We're
and that's
all
what that
fucking
line
pink
is.
this whole weekend. Like, look just how flat and desolate everything is. Just cold and snow.
You can watch your dog run away for 3 days straight.
We just pull up and we're all hanging outside the barn and chilling with each other. And me talking to Rockin' is a pretty common sight at any super show in 2010. Is that Baby K in the background right there?
You could probably zoom in.
Barton?
Yeah, I know Iowa was there.
Oh, yeah, we're only at 36%, dog.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I sent my hard drive away that I found and
Technical difficulties.
realized that this was on there. And I was like, we're going to be doing this episode. We should probably
Hell yeah.
send this over. Yeah, there's Iowa being as social as can be.
Yeah, like they were that whole weekend. There's Ohio hanging out with each other. I don't know who's in the hoodie.
That's the clique that we tried to avoid.
But look at this. Like, isn't this a little funny? So, yeah, Anthony Lee, I didn't hang out with him too much. Oh, there's Ed. I never noticed Ed's ear was in this picture. That's some shit.
You've had
You
2
just
days
had to
to
zoom in.
examine this picture.
No, this picture has been on Facebook for the last 10 years. Happy Psycho over here. Yeah.
Well, Facebook probably degraded the quality of it.
I wouldn't doubt it, especially being uploaded in the
Yeah.
time that it was. There's that infamous view from the top of the barn up in the loft, the balcony, whatever you want to call it.
That's a cool picture.
Look how they put the canvas over top of the tarp.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because they're smarter than us.
Huh. Yeah, but it took them a long time.
Love that picture,
Put the
dude.
base.
Did you
inside
look
the barn.
so young?
I look so young, right?
That's
Hell
before
yeah.
the life died out of your
Yeah,
eyes.
that is 100% accurate. We're all going to Buffalo Wild Wings like we do at every show, but it was really cold and we forgot to take a group picture, so let's just throw them 4s up in Buffalo Wild Wings.
I forgot 3 fingers.
No, you were just a day one fan. You knew what was around the corner.
Cody looks like a big baby. Like his face. Like
Where
it looks
is
like a full-grown baby.
FX
at?
looks like he got photoshopped in the
Yeah.
bottom.
Ed's fucking Pittsburgh hat all the way up here, just with the backwards 4. I always thought that Ruben stood out in this
Yeah,
picture.
his
He
mouth is gigantic.
and not
in
only
this.
that, but he's just a pretty good looking dude. So he's just sitting there, just being
Them
all
baby
him.
blues.
Yeah, bro. Fucking, yeah. I'm down here. So funny thing about this, I go into this restaurant, I sit down here, and everybody is standing around me because I didn't know where the fuck I was, dude. Devin murdered me with that vertebraker. And people were coming up to me like, that match was good, bro. And I'm like, it wasn't. And like, I remember specifically having a conversation with Chris Cash where he was like, dude, really cool. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. And I'm telling everybody down there, I'm like, guys, I'm beat. Like, I don't know where I'm at right now. I just want some wings and I need to roll the fuck out of here, right? And speaking of Chris Cash, so at day 1 of Just Another Supershow 4, he was booked in a match. It was an Iowa tag team match, and I think he was supposed to be in that DC Doom tag match that happened.
Yep, he was.
And the Iowa guys came walking out for their entrance, and then instead of getting in the ring, they climbed up to the loft and just heckled the entire time, and that was like their part of the match. Like, they just decided, we're not wrestling, we're up here. And the whole reason he came to this show was because on day 2, he was supposed to be wrestling Brandon.
You
And
just found this out, right?
literally hours ago, I was talking with him. Day 2, he was supposed to be wrestling Brandon. And like, that's a reason to go to a show in itself. So he was like really excited about it and like walking around work, coming up with spots, like can't wait to go, right? But I guess his parents didn't necessarily want him driving from Iowa all the way to Ohio to have this match, right? So he told them, I'm just going to Chicago. Like, I'm right around here, everything will be fine. So lies to the rents, out at the show, doesn't answer his phone. And so his dad or somebody calls one of his friends that are with him, and she picks up the phone. Hey, yeah, we're doing fine. We're just in Ohio. Everything's good.
Oh, no.
So he gets his spot blown up and like, come the fuck home. You're not wrestling tomorrow. You're not staying for the weekend. Get your ass back here. So he had to roll out on the show. And the worst part about it is like, he couldn't even deny it because he cut a promo where he talked about being in Ohio and his brother found it and like showed it to his parents. Like so apparently that weekend changed his relationship with his parents forever for the worse because, you know, stuff happens whenever you're a teenager and you lie to your parents.
But like, okay, so I just looked it up on GPS. There's only a 4-hour difference. Like Ohio is 4 hours, you know, further away than Chicago. You're already in Ohio. Like, why make the kid come home? Like, he's there. Like, it's not going to undo it.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, parents react emotionally whenever they get lied to, especially because I believe it was his dad's car, too. So I think that was part of the deal. But I'm not familiar with the details because, like I said, just learned this story. But I felt I should bring that up with the boy and RIP his chances of wrestling Beast Snow. That was gone forever, right?
Sadness.
Dreams crushed.
Maybe his dad just hates fucking Ohio.
I don't
if you know anything, it's never go to Ohio.
You better not come home a Cleveland Browns fan.
I don't even know if Iowa knows professional football exists. So there is the tattoo that Stacy got this day, and this caused a whole bunch of commotion because after everybody sat outside to watch his match and be an audience to the crazy TLC stuff that they did, him, Caleb, and Tyron just decided to leave the whole show after their match and go get Stacy a tattoo. So there were a lot of really upset people, especially in like the superlatives thread. You can see people just talking shit. And one of the funnier things is like Caleb was in particular like getting shit on about it because he really didn't need to leave. And like somebody said something to him and he was like, nobody's getting mad at Stacy about this. And JP's like, he was getting a tattoo. You were doing nothing positive with your life. You could have stayed at the show.
But also in the grand scheme of things, like Buddy was just cold. Like why?
Right. But what we were saying is so were we.
Yeah,
and we
were
still
toughing
watched
it out,
your fucking match, you know. There's Castro offering a drink to Steve, which you know that he wants some.
Yeah, I don't even remember what happened next. So, well, that's probably
that's
why.
What happened next?
Yeah, I should have wore that hat. That's where I stayed at Rachel's. I remember I was so we found out that through the Spot Monkey thing that where we were sleeping was pre-planned. Like I was thinking, like, why did I stay at Rachel's?
I saw that. I don't ever remember being at Troy's house.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'll tell you why you don't remember it.
I remember it was so cold there that my bones were so cold that finally I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go into the sauna. And also, she had well water in her house, and I didn't know what that meant. Oh my god, it smelled like sulfur.
Well,
I'm like, this isn't great. So I ended up going to the sauna to warm up, and then ended up like cutting a promo as if I was like a Dragon Ball Z character, like powering, like training. And
in the sauna.
Yeah, because it felt like it was like a training thing. And I'd never been in one, and I like nearly passed out. Well, like at the time, I never sweat, and I was.
Is that the sauna right there?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm in there with Domi, Josh, and probably Nick, like the four of us. And as time is going on, like they have literal like beads of sweat dripping from their forehead. I'm like, I can't sweat. I don't know what's going on. And then I started to like break a sweat, and I was like, all right, it's happening. And then
It looks like some unholy things happened that night. Just by that picture.
I was probably in there.
Beast Snow's a freak, dude.
I was probably in that sauna for quite a long time. And then, doing a raspy voice promo, it was... Could have been bad.
Trying to picture Steve in this sauna that smells like sulfur, just like, and there I was.
Well, Domi says on the superlatives that it was the funniest moment of the weekend, so we can only imagine, right?
And then I remember I was sleeping on the floor right next to DC Doom, and he had his like nose was whistling just ever so slightly with every inhale, and I was so miserable because I was cold. The house fucking smelled like well water, and I'm listening to Whistles McGee over here, and I just want to sleep. Just like, I hate this. This could have been so much better. Why did I get selected to stay here?
Whistles McGee. And I think it probably had to do with who he trusted. Like, he could put you at Rachel's house and not feel weird about it.
He should have. See?
That's why I brought that up. Yeah. Steve doing Steve thing. Look how skinny you are, bro.
I know, dude. Skin and bones.
One tattoo.
That's why I was so cold.
Yeah, right.
Because I had 2% body fat.
Absolutely.
Who is Rachel?
Rachel was Beast Snow's girlfriend at the time. We called her R Snow.
That's funny. And that's her house.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually hilarious because I don't know who Rachel was. I know Arsno.
Yeah, right.
That's funny.
Interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
So me and the champ J Pizzle better recognize. Word up to B Snow. We're in Ohio, guys.
Sure. And
we're discussing what we're gonna do this weekend, and we know that we're staying at Fat Troy's house. So it's me, JP, B Snow, and Hack Edgerman that are there for sure, along with like Rockin' Rivera, Fat Troy. So JP hadn't smoked a lot of marijuana in his life. B Snow, I'm assuming, had smoked almost none, and I decided that like now's a good time to be a bad influence. So I'm bringing weed with me on this trip, right? And I'm taking it in the car, not telling anybody, and we're smoking marijuanas at Just Another Supershow 4. So we go out to Brandon's car, and I got pre-rolled joints for everybody. Pass one to the backseat to JP, one to Ed, one to Brandon, one to me. We're all sparking them. We're sitting there smoking, hotboxing the shit out of Brandon's car, and like Brandon had this little old beat up piece of shit. I think it was called an Aries. Is that the name of a car?
It was called the Austin Aries. Is what he called it. I don't know if that was the name of it.
But I think the car brand was an Aries. Maybe.
That would make sense.
But yeah, he did call it the Austin Aries. So we're in there getting the Aries smoked out, and I also brought a little glass pipe with me that I filled up with some weed, and I'm passing that around to give everybody the full stoner experience. Passing it around the car, we're smoking our joints, everything's going down, and then I look up in the rearview mirror, and I just see JP. And he has this pipe to his face, and he's got the lighter, and he's just flicking it 600 times.
You could literally see the reflection of the flame in his eyes.
It was that. And he was just this over and over again and going... And I'm looking, and I'm like, let me see that. And it's been empty, cuz like there's nothing. And he's just smoking hot air through this glass pipe. And I think...
Because he was so cold.
Right, yeah. And I'm like, I think we have all been sufficiently stoned at this point. So I grab a Sharpie real quick, and I tag Brandon's fucking dashboard, and we get in the house to go hang out. And we're all chilling, and we're all stoned, and we're having a good time and talking. And then Jason Fierce looks at JP, and he's like, you did something out there, didn't you? JP's like, no. And like me and Ed look over at him like, yes. He's like, no, I didn't do anything. And Fierce is like, dude, it's cool if you smoked a little weed, I don't care. JP's like, test me right now. Go get a test and test me immediately.
The paranoia hits hard.
I've never smoked in my life. You could test me right now. And then that's about all I remember from the night because the concussion had fully kicked in, and I was...
You knew he couldn't test you either. So.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Genius. Good tactic, man. Good tactic. He still to this day doesn't know if I did or didn't.
I never tested you.
He's not going to watch this episode either. He disappeared. But
true.
That's what Unsolved Mysteries.
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries.
If anyone finds Jason Fierce, let me know.
Let anyone know. Just tell us his address.
Is he really gone?
He's gone, man.
So yeah, that's about all I remember from that night because, I mean, I could handle my weed, but I could not handle the concussion that Devin gave me. My head was pounding, so I go downstairs to sleep in this ice-cold basement of Fat Troy's house. Rockin' follows me down. We cuddle for a nice 10-hour nap and wake up the next morning, and we're on our way back to CBYW for Just Another Supershow Day 2.
Is this day 2?
We're on our way back to the base from Fat Troy's house.
So I don't remember who all was in the car. I know Rockin', Castro, and I believe Devin Bliss. There was a third person in the back seat, and I can't remember who it was.
Maybe Fierce.
Could be. But, typical me, we're driving down the road, and it's just like, oh, car, fuck you. I'm just giving everybody the finger. Well, this one guy took it very, very serious.
Yes, he did.
And he turned around. And he comes flying, and he runs us off the road. So I pull around and keep going. Runs us off the road again. So, I'm starting to get a little nervous. I'm like, guys, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, I'm like, this guy's going to kill us, So I'm driving, and I find this little back road, and I'm like, oh, I'm hitting it. I turn as quick as I can. Sure enough, this guy comes, parks his car right in front. Door opens. I'm like, shit. Put the car in reverse, turn around, drive. Pulls in front of us. Rockin' and Castro are like, let me out of the car. I'm beating his ass.
The Chicago guys do not fuck around.
Yeah, and I'm like, guys, you're nuts.
Yeah, right.
That guy will kill me.
Yep.
So, two big guys in the back seat would have beat the shit out of him, but at the time, I'm like, I ain't opening no doors.
You're going down first.
Yeah, right. These doors are staying locked. Nobody's getting out of my car. I'm not going to die because you guys want to beat his ass. Absolutely not. So finally, I got the idea, all right, every time we stop, this guy opens his door, he gets out. I'm just going to stop. When he gets out, he's going to take a couple steps, then I'm going to back up more, right? So I back up a little bit after he takes like 5 steps, and he turns around and he goes to get back in his car, and I stop. He stops, he turns around, so I just get to the point where I'm so far behind him that I could just turn around real quick and fly. By the time he ran back to his car to get in and turn around, we were gone.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yes.
It was all, I was terrified.
That's tremendous.
But yeah, Rockin' and Castro, if you're watching this, man, you guys are badass.
They're riders, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the crazy thing about all this is, like, we were in the car chasing this car chase. Like, me, Brandon, and other people were following the guy that was following you. So we kept going, what the fuck is he pulling over? What's he doing? Is he backing up? Like, we didn't know what to do because we didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Right.
So the whole time we're befuddled and we're like, can this just end so we can go to the show?
We're gonna be late.
Was the guy aware that there was another group following?
I don't know
think
how
so.
you would be.
I don't know, but that guy had no fear.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Well, that's
he
what-
was
that's what I'm
he was
saying,
solo
yeah.
dolo, ready to beat 5 grown well, we're kids.
Yeah.
But we're grown men.
Yeah, right.
But he was gonna whoop our asses.
But like, wouldn't he be surprised though if like even if 5 of you get out of the car and he's ready to go, but then like your car pulls up and then like 4 more dudes get
and then
out.
like it's a bunch of clowns coming out. Right. Don't stop coming.
You could play him too. You could be like, oh no, he flipped us off as well.
Right.
We're also here to fight.
I want to say that we had, I think it was Rockin', Devin, and Castro in the back seat, and me and Steve Fierce were in the front seats. So like, if this dude sees me and Steve, he's not terrified at all.
Not at all.
He couldn't see in the back.
Right.
He would have been very surprised if those two got out of the car. Like,
Oh, sorry.
and it is not confirmed, or maybe it was fabricated, but I am 90% sure he reached in his door and grabbed something.
It's entirely. If someone's gonna react like that in the first place, chances are they probably have.
He
a
had
short
something.
Even if he's bluffing.
And that was the point where I'm like, yeah, this door ain't opening.
I feel that.
You know, at some point, you could have probably just hit him.
Honestly, should have probably ran him over.
You know, because at that point, your life is clearly threatened.
Right.
I don't. Let me just say, I don't condone any of this.
No,
Put
I
a
was
warning up
totally
on
invested.
YouTube.
I was like justified. Yes.
Yeah, like you know,
Hit him.
like I'm not condoning violence, but like at that point, this guy's clearly unhinged because it's not like you insulted his mother on her deathbed. You know, like you gave him a goddamn middle finger while driving
opposite directions.
Yeah, right. And he just happened to slam on his brakes and do a 180 and make your life a living hell.
Right.
Who knows if this guy's having a Vietnam flashback or something like that? And he's taking all these measures. You could have just pinched him between your car and his car, and then slammed on the gas. And made him say sorry to you, and then just go about your day.
Right.
You know? The slight
Right. And while he
inconvenience
was
him.
pinched, maybe let Rockin' and Castro out for a couple swings. I mean,
Definitely.
I pray this guy finds our podcast.
There was another car?
But here's the thing. The only reason why I'm saying this is because, 1, there was 5 of you guys in the car. 2, you're in the middle of goddamn nowhere.
in a cornfield. It was in a cornfield.
You could have, like, killed him and gotten away with it. No one would have seen it.
Not wrong.
And I think this happened at like 10:30 in the morning. Like, it was early. We were going to the show. So like,
Right.
we woke up. We didn't go to breakfast. We never did that in Ohio. It was just wake up, go back to the base. You know, we didn't
And
have time to
not
hang around.
one of us in the car was from Ohio.
No.
We were all from a different state.
So you had nothing to lose.
We were clear.
You didn't know if that was Brandon's uncle or anything like that.
That
Didn't
guy's
matter.
lucky we didn't get out of the car.
Yeah. Now I'm mad you didn't get out of the car. You could have been a murderer.
Rockin', Castro, I'm sorry.
All right,
And also, thank you.
Yeah.
And
Same.
we're lucky for that. We're also lucky that this is a filmed podcast and not a live one, because we're going to take a quick break here real quick.
There's a storm in my head, leaving a mess of everything that I used to be.
So what song was that?
That was Too Young by Alpha View.
Alpha View. And Alpha View Too Young is the official theme song of Backyard Wrestling. It's not dead yet. Right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
That's
coming
right.
up in September of 2024. If you think you're invited, you're probably not.
You're not, and you're not sleeping at my house.
And you're
either.
definitely not sleeping at Steve's house. JP said that he will open his basement to anybody willing to cook for him.
I have a daughter now.
And outside of that, yeah. So we're going to give it a shot. And I can't lie to you. It's 100% because of this podcast, right? Like, we get in a room and talk about it for long enough, and eventually we're going to be like, we can still do that.
Rick's been over here itching the whole time. I gotta scratch this itch.
My go out match was not what I wanted it to be. And you know, I heard there's a certain little redhead kid who isn't completely against having a wrestling match.
Wow, you really got weed out from the weed fast food chain.
We're not supposed to say names yet.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to censor that. They're going to hear beep.
Bakura.
Super show. But yeah, so that's that. That's a thing. That's what we are going to be doing in the future. And 10 years from now, we'll have a podcast talking about how that went. But for now, we're going to talk about the rest of Just Another Super Show 4. JP gets run off the road. We have to chase everybody. Everybody's chasing everybody, but we all live to tell the tale. So Just Another Super Show 4, day 2.
That was a Seinfeld reference I just did.
I don't know them. I wish I did. I wish I could have popped for you.
It was a shrinkage joke.
Great gear.
Nick?
I stayed at his house once
You did.
in Chicago. Yeah.
Nice family.
His dad scared the hell out of me.
That's I stayed with Papa Rockin' in Chicago, and he scared the shit out of me.
Big difference between the two of them. Both equally can be terrifying for different reasons.
Right.
Well, his dad said something to me that I don't think I can. Well, I probably can say on the podcast. I just don't want to.
Don't do it then.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
You can beat
Yeah.
this out. He probably
It was-
said,
Beep.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what he said. And he was so serious. And then
You don't know.
then he cracked on me, and I was like, oh,
I
my
love
God. He was the nicest man.
the
So
Almendarez
nice.
family. Love
Yeah.
them. That was kind of sniffy.
Yeah, so we have DC Doom, Matt Nix, and Anthony Lee here in a triple threat match.
Wow, Brunette Anthony Lee.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I mean, like, I see him every now and then, but he's blonde now. I forgot that he was.
Yeah, he was
ever not.
blonde back then eventually, too. Like, this probably the only time I've seen him with brown hair now that I'm thinking about it.
Wow. So this would have been the first time that I met Anthony Lee.
Same.
Ex-Cal, Happy Psycho.
Yeah, I had met X-Cal at JAS1, but the other two weren't there.
Right. I still remain that it was always cool how every show introduced a new guest.
Yeah.
Also, in this one, in addition to Indiana, we had Iowa, Sean Selby, and Mike Creston as well.
Right.
Which I was talking to you about Mike Creston. I don't remember
And then
where.
you guys just said, hey, let's have Beast Snow dressed as a shark and Dom fight X-Cow and Happy Psycho.
He wasn't dressed as a shark. He was
What?
dressed as a skeleton.
Whatever. You get what I'm saying here.
We'll talk about that next episode. Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying. They
Happy
just
Psycho-
showed up.
so-
and then you said, all right, Dom. Jeez.
They didn't. I knew them.
It's
personally.
2010.
Is this
Happy
that
Psy-
elimination?
I knew Happy Psycho, and he was a big fan of me. So this is an elimination chamber match here with Beast Snow. Since he couldn't wrestle Chris Cash, he ended up getting in this match along with Happy Psycho and Sean Jovi and Cody Jacobs and CJ and Domi. And so this. So no, we're going to talk about that because
Okay.
I have another thing. But just keep that spot in mind for later. And I'm sure we didn't quite see what was going on, but we'll talk more about it at the end of the video.
So this is pretty much Ohio versus Indiana versus Domi.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What is with the like halo glare
Oh my
coming
god,
through?
Ohio had the worst cameras, dude.
Yeah.
Like I always just got terrible footage from them to the point I didn't even like. I would say I'll make the music videos, and all the videos would come to me like this, like.
With a film of grease over top, like looking like the Alderney swimming pool.
Right.
Looks like it was taken with like a Game Boy camera. Like it's so bad.
Okay.
Except for this match in particular here.
Oh, this looks better.
This was done with a better camera up top.
we go.
One of our guys, I'm sure.
Pittsburgh cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah. much better.
Specifically, Jason Fierce was a fan of mine from WrestleFigs, and he was like, "Are you gonna dress like Sean Phoenix?" And I was like, "No, I just kind of did that as a thing for Lee." But I was like, "Oh, wait a second, I can. I just won't wear the tights.
Right,
I'll wear
yeah.
my
He's gonna do it.
yep."
I always liked that.
He's gonna do it.
Hey, we all have our things that we
Right.
like, right? See, look how Rockin' was like using his arm as like a rope, and like that would come into play. Like we haven't acknowledged it once. Stop fucking doing it.
Happy Psycho shirt that he's wearing over there. One of them said "I heart sick Rick," and the other one said "fuck Sean Selby," and we'll get into that a little bit. But for now, I mean,
that was
awesome.
I think this was probably the best wrestling match of the weekend. At least like the most everybody was entertained by.
Yeah, probably because it was a little bit warmer at 31 degrees. I ended up
man,
could have been bad.
Nobody sitting in the car because the show was over after this match.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was the main event. Yep.
Oh, wow. I ended up cutting my hands. Oh, that was scary.
Did you practice that flip?
Probably.
How about this one?
Oh, it was kind of perfect though if you think
That
about
was
it.
Beautiful.
Because that's how you want to land.
Yeah.
So that's
And you knew you were doing that whenever Castle hit his.
Yep. That was why I was upset. Because
Oh.
I was like, cool. I'm going to do a 630 for the first time in my life.
As someone
trampoline.
watching, like obviously I wasn't there. I appreciate seeing too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I agree with that too.
But now I look like a stinking copycat.
630s are a really nice move. Another thing is I met Jason Pierce for the first time this weekend, and there was some point during day 2 where he was just standing on the base, and I went up to him and I just tied up with him, right?
Yeah.
And then do a little go behind, and we're chaining, and it's like maybe 4 minutes at the very most of us fucking around. We did nothing, but we did stuff, you know? And afterwards, I'm like riding home, and I get a text message from him like, I've never felt that way about wrestling somebody like that before. Like, we just clicked.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
No, just immediately he's just like, I have never felt that comfortable with somebody that I had never wrestled before as I did in the 30 seconds that we fucking chained up on that base. And he was like, I need to wrestle you as soon as possible. And
that's dope.
Next show,
that's a good feeling. I've experienced that on the pro era where it's like, like we just kind of like a practice thing, and it's like you just feel the chemistry, and it's like that was really weird. But yeah, so I know exactly what that feeling is. It's really cool. It can take you by surprise.
And especially because like up until that moment, him and I didn't really click. We maybe stood side by side a little bit and we're in the same groups of people talking, like when he would come over, talk to Devin or whatever. But like literally as soon as that happened, it's like, oh, this is my dude right here. And like fucking bang, let's roll. And it was unexpected, but it was really fucking cool. And I don't think I ever felt quite like that again, where it's just like someone I just met, like, oh, okay. And like, we could read each other's bodies.
Yeah, I think wrestling sounds like my
Valentine's. Hey. That was Just Another Super Show 4, and we were doing a lot of talking about Sean Selby at Just Another Super Show 4.
Yeah, what was his... Okay, so I remember that it was supposed to be something with you and me, but like, why was he getting some notoriety online?
He was getting... So online, he was like, especially Facebook, he was a crybaby. And every time something didn't go his way, it was a paragraph about how upset he was about it and why he needed to be given better opportunity. And to be honest, like, he was one of the not so talented wrestlers in the group. He was in the lower tier.
Doesn't he fuck with us pretty heavy?
He does, yeah. Absolutely.
You're just killing him right now.
We're gonna lose a subscriber, Rick.
So here's the thing. He had his own podcast where this was his first episode because this is a story for him as well. So he already told his side of this story, right? So he was getting fucked with pretty heavy by most of the people. JP was killing him that weekend.
What?
Man.
That doesn't sound like JP.
JP was wrecking him, and since, that's my Spot Monkey brother, I was right there with it. Like, me and JP were fucking both getting on him.
Did you find a target and you just...
Yep, mm-hmm.
Sounds like he got over it.
Yeah, so he really had a lot of like go away heat. It wasn't like he wasn't playing a heel or anything. It was just like, fuck this dude, right? So much to the point where Happy Psycho literally made a shirt that said, I heart Sick Rick and fuck Sean Selby, so that he could be part of the gimmick, So it was running pretty deep. And all that was going on while he had this match. And this match is an Elimination Chamber match that he was in. We already watched and we saw the clip. But we're going to take a little more in-depth look at it here. So
I remember this was kind of like a moment where it's like, all right, put up or shut up. Like, even though, like, as far as main eventers in this match that you could say that were involved were like B Snow and Domi, like those are some of the heavy hitters. Where even there's other people that aren't necessarily the higher tier.
Yeah,
it was kind of like, all right, you have 2 opportunities to shine here. Don't do that when I'm talking.
What was that? What was that?
I broke it. No,
a spring.
Fine. It's cool. Everything's fine.
You don't need all of them. Just a couple.
I broke it. So.
What did you say?
That could be the commercial. In between the commercial of the other commercial.
There's always room for a commercial.
Yeah.
We can just make a commercial for no reason.
It said,
I broke it.
Carry on.
Most of the time, people try to deny breaking things.
No. Especially wind. It's always me. But yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So Sean Selby had an opportunity, right? And here we go again.
Did he deliver?
So
Something did.
So in this match, he was getting razzed pretty hard by me and other people.
You guys are so mean.
And
I remember Devin literally was like yelling that. You're so mean.
so Domi's up top, right? And he went up there to dive is his plan. And the plan was, I'm going to kick this paint can filled with nails off of this teeter-totter contraption.
As you do.
To warn you guys that I'm about to dive.
I did not know that was the idea.
That was the plan. It was, I'm going to do this, and when you see this can of nails come flying, that's the warning that I'm going to jump off the top.
Oh my God.
So you need to
A can of nails is not a warning. It is an absolute attack.
That's how we won World War II.
I would like to be warned about the can of nails more so.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to warn you about these nails.
God, imagine what was going to come after that. Holy shit.
More nails.
So unfortunately, we are watching this through the potato can now. But you see it go up. You kind of see through the square there, that little shadow, that's
There's
Domi.
1 pixel.
That is Domi. And you just hear boom, and that's him hitting the teeter-totter.
Can we play this with audio?
Yes, I just did.
Okay.
You did?
I just hit.
When?
Just right now. Look, 107. Unless the TV is
It
turned
might
down.
be. Turn the old Pioneer up to 110.
Why
you
is it 107? What?
I
Since
don't know.
when do we go over 100%?
Whenever you really want to hear it.
We have somebody half deaf in the room, okay? We need that 7%.
This is fantastic.
This is a school night.
All right, so Domi's up here. Domi's going to saw teeter-totter the paint can, and you're going to see a couple pixels go flying. Okay, do you see it?
God.
Yeah.
Moment before disaster.
Came from down here up in the air now, right?
Again, not a warning.
Not a warning.
All right, so go back now that we know where to look.
Okay, now that you know what's going on.
All right.
Yeah, I want to see it all in sequence.
This is so good.
It's a dragon! Oh my God, it's a dragon!
Who got hit with the bucket?
So, unluckily for him, but luckily for everybody else on planet Earth, that was Sean Selby after already getting all the go-home heat in the world. So the reaction that we make in this barn is unsustainable. You need to eat 27,000 calories a day to react like this for more than 2 seconds.
It's a dragon! Oh my God, it's a dragon!
Oh my God. We're gonna need to watch this
It's a dragon! Oh my God, it's a dragon!
We were just all losing our fucking mind.
That was the warning. He was warning him that he was going to die. Okay, let's try to be quiet through the reaction this time.
Oh my God, it's a dragon!
Look at Ed run away. Everybody's jumping. Losing our minds. And then it's just like, go ahead, dummy.
And like how uneventful that was comparatively.
But it was still a huge pop because we were all
Was anyone upset?
probably Selby.
I assume the guy that got hit in the face with the can of nails
Yeah.
was upset.
I mean, I feel that part. But like, if you're the talent, expect something. But I'm talking like, did any like stray people get hit with a nail?
I don't think any of them left the can.
Oh, so it just straight up smacked him in the face.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, it
I
crushed
thought
me.
maybe some of those dark
Like
pixels were
exploded.
actual nails.
But yeah, like
does he talk about this on his?
Yes,
I would like to hear.
This
that.
was such an organic thing, and as you said, because of the fact that like he had so much heat, it was like fuck this guy, this guy sucks, he's the worst, and then he gets his head crushed in with a can of nails. Like anybody else that would have hit. There's like 6 people in that match, right? Could have hit anybody else. Could have missed.
That changed his life for the better.
The fact that it hit him made it amazing.
I could not agree more. And you can like hear the barn all one at a time notice that it was him. Because at first it was like, oh, I hope he's, oh, yes. Yes, it was him, yes.
All it took for you guys to like him was for him to basically get hit. Well, yeah, for him to get hit in the head with a can of nails. Like, that's all it took. Sorry, buddy.
The fact that it was so goddamn perfect is why I thought to this day that whole fucking thing was planned.
Nope.
Because it was the perfect scenario. The execution, the delivery, and the recipient of it was a perfect combination of the best spot I've ever seen.
A disclaimer, I would have celebrated any one of you getting hit in the face with a can of nails.
Yes.
I remember Rad Hazard telling me whenever that clip kind of got posted how he would have loved to be there in such an organic moment when that, you know, when we all erupted in cheers and hilarity. He's like, man, he had like FOMO really bad at that point. And like, what a moment. What a moment. And like, it didn't seem to like really piss off Selby. So real props to him.
No. And in fact, him getting this moment was a little bit of foreshadowing because a plan was already hatched. I believe it was 100% your idea.
I mean, I'll say that anything if it's good. Yeah, it's always been my idea. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was because I saw Selby getting bullied and I didn't like that.
Yes.
And, in hindsight, I couldn't remember why.
Yeah.
That's just who I am as a person. It's like, okay, well, how do we fix this? Right. Because this isn't good.
You hit him in the head with a can of nails.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that was well, originally my idea was fucking hammers.
Yeah,
but, someone said no. So we came up with an idea where something was going to happen and we were going to call him out and he was going to bump us. But at the time, we had not had enough time to come up with that scenario, and I was like planning my match. In the main event of a tables match, I'm doing a 6:30. My mind's pretty occupied.
Yeah.
So I remember like turning to you and was like, dude, I don't have time to plan this. Like, this is all you. So this is kind of more so your moment, the idea of it. You went through with this because in hindsight, it looks like I'm like, hey, let's eat shit. Actually, Rick, you're eating shit.
That's not
how it was.
Right. That's not at all how it was. That is how it could sound. Yeah. But as soon as you said, like, you didn't even tell me. You were like, do you still want to do this by yourself? Would you still do this? And I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm done with it. So the idea behind this is Selby's getting destroyed by everybody. And it's kind of like I was the de facto face of the hate of Sean Selby to an extent.
You're his antagonist.
Happy. Hey, shut up. There's a thing. All right. Where's Jovi at? Right now.
So I'm holding a sign there that said, like, fuck Sean Selby or Selby sucks, something along those lines. And this is after that match that just happened. And he's like, you know what? I'm sick of your shit, Rick. Get in the ring right now.
I should have just stayed in Wisconsin and slit my wrist on Facebook.
Scary shirt you're wearing, Rick.
Yeah, it's just all over.
No, not the back. That's what makes it scary.
So I'm going to give him one.
Listen to that reaction.
Oh my God.
Even Happy was like, no.
Yeah, he's pretty bummed.
Wow, what a cheer.
I'm surprised he didn't jump in and help.
He got the heat. Yeah, and that worked out for him really well. That was exact. And like even on the most shocking moments on Superlatives thread that got mentioned a few times, happy to help a little bit, just do something to hopefully change the way that people were acting, including me. But I felt deserved in what I was doing, but also at the same time, like I'm a team player. I'll take one. I don't give a fuck, But on his podcast, when he was talking about this, he said, I threw a really weak line, and after all that shit, I should have hit him harder. And when I heard that, I'm like, are you like, yes.
He fucking hated you.
Honestly, when I watched it, that's exactly what I thought.
I agree.
Because you swung really hard when you missed.
Yeah. and I bumped my whole ass off for him, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like, I was nice enough to give you that moment. And you're saying Rick was nice enough to give me that moment, but I still should have punched him in the face.
I don't blame him one bit.
Yeah, but if he did it, you would have been happier.
I would have been fine.
I don't think it's like that at all. I think this was an opportunity for me to shine, and I didn't make the most of it. You know, having the perception of Rick, you are the lariat guy of our generation.
Yeah.
He's countering the lariat and clubbing you with one, and he didn't follow through with it. And that's really what made the difference. Like, he essentially gave you a shoulder tackle.
It was a weak line.
Yeah, right? But had he followed through with it, how much more impactful that would have meant. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's backyard wrestling. It doesn't fucking matter. But, you know, like, that moment right there would have been like, it would have just, us watching it right now, it would have been like, fuck, dude, he rocked his shit. You know? So I don't think it's like a malicious way. I will remember when we were talking about this, because I was talking to Selby about it going into this. I don't remember what my spot was in the scenario, what it was going to be, but I remember like kind of, you know, running through this idea. And if Selby's listening to this, I'm not trying to bury you. It's just something that stuck with me.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, okay, I am burying you.
He is listening to this.
Sorry, I'm just always going to play devil's advocate.
As long as he's listening to this and not watching it, then I can get it
right. Yeah.
Okay. I remember talking to him about this and like kind of like saying, okay, then I feel like lining you was the grand finale of it.
Yes, it was.
And it was kind of like, okay, well then boom, then you're going to, hit Rick with the, lariat, and then that's your moment. And then like he was kind of like, then what? And I was like, no, that's it. Like, like you kind of like, you celebrate, like you're beating the bully. Like that's your moment. And then I don't know what the next, conversation was, but at one point he goes, because he was also doing that Sean Jovi gimmick.
He was at that time?
Yeah. And he was like, should I put the wig on at that moment? And I was like, abso-fucking-lutely not. No.
Did you ask him why?
Because he was like, I guess he had stopped doing that character.
And he's like, I've just beat Selby and I'm Jovi now. I evolved.
Yeah, so he was like having like a metamorphosis thing, to try to make it feel as epic as possible. But that would have been a complete 180.
He wanted to erase everything you guys did. Yeah, he was like, let me just throw that back on. And revert.
We're basing this off of like a real heat that you have, and you're going to put on a wig. Like name me a scenario where you put on a wig and you look like a badass.
At some point, he could like drive that so long that people would eventually love it, like almost like as a joke.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, especially at this point.
Right.
So speaking of heat, I needed some. We had to get the fuck out of outside because I was done with it, dude. It was cold as shit. It was a mental test the entire time. I think I wrestled Caleb day 2 as well, but I think it was almost an identical situation to the Selby match where we got up there, did 2 spots, called it a day, and I rolled on. I don't even think footage exists of it. Like, it was just one of those things where we got booked to wrestle each other and it was too cold. Yeah. It was a match. It was a dark spot. It was very similar to the Selby thing. But so we needed to get the hell back home, and we'll take a smile from Jimmy Nutter. And before we hit the road, the Champ JP always got to go through the drive-thru and grab us some softies, some pops.
Yeah.
And hit the Dodge on down the road, blurry-ass rest area, and we head back to Pittsburgh. Just Another Super Show 4.
I live there.
I don't think I've ever been that cold in my entire life for such a long period of time.
You're saying 31 degrees, though?
That day 2.
The high.
That was the high at 1 hour in the day, roughly around 3 o'clock.
What was the low?
So imagine going to a Steeler game when it's 20 degrees out, how cold you are.
Plus 18 miles an hour wind.
When we went to the Ben one, that was like negative. That was
cold.
That was in the teens.
Imagine trying to wrestle.
It was higher than that. It just felt colder because we were by the river.
Yeah. But not only that, not even trying to wrestling kept me warm.
Yeah. Right.
Standing around not doing anything kept you cold for like 8 goddamn hours.
I would hate that.
It was just a miserable, like, it was such a long, drawn out, miserable feeling.
And I feel like for some reason, we all just dressed normal.
For the most part, like there were no
hoodies and coats. Right, but like when we went to the Ben game, man, I had like 6 pairs of socks on. I had a hooded jacket. I had a hoodie over my jacket.
That's a good point. Yeah, because you prepare it.
Because you went through that shit before.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I had the wherewithal. I knew I was
you
wearing.
Had a coat.
I don't even know whose coat that was. I probably borrowed that from one of my parents because at this point I only had like a leather jacket. I had a hoodie, I had a coat, I had foot warmers, I had gloves, I had hand warmers, and I had my beanie on, and I was still cold because like at that point I had like 3% body fat, and I was cold just to begin with.
Yeah. So we go back to Pittsburgh, and while we're waiting for our season to start, there was supposed to be a WrestleFest, and it didn't quite work out because it was supposed to be in the PCWA building that we went to for WrestleFest 9 and for later BYG 6. But apparently at this specific time period, the guy told Jay, I'm selling the building. You can't have your show there. So, like, everything kind of went down the shitter, and some people had already bought tickets or what have you, whatever. And Andrew Schillinglaw, right, whatever, and his Connecticut-based backyard wrestling company. I believe they might have been 3CW something like that at the time, like 3CWA, 203 BYW later. Connecticut. It's the same group of guys, no matter who it is. That's where Soy came from. It's where Sky Bynes came from. And then other people from our time, like BRB and Danny Devine. A lot of people came out of the Connecticut crew, no doubt. But if you can't have a WrestleFest, you might as well have a not WrestleFest.
And that's where I come in. One, Yakuza J was planning on coming in for WrestleFest, had the ticket. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just go to this. So I was like, well, you know, if you're going to be here, I'm still going to go. So I hopped on a train and went up to Connecticut and was supposed to have a singles match with Senafane. And then Jonah showed up, and which is very surprising. And we added him to this match because I've always wanted to work with him. And we had a triple threat. And I remember I didn't wrestle day one because I was sick. I was starting to feel sick on the train. And I was like, well, you know what? I want to do this match. So I'll wait, you know, save that energy for the day two. Because that's when Yakuza J was coming as well.
You just felt like you needed the energy.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I overexerted myself day one, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this. And I actually reached out to Jonah, see what he thought about this, and he said he doesn't really remember it too much, other than it was a really good match and he really enjoyed it, which means a lot to me as someone who was a fan of his when I was younger. And I asked him, like, how did this come to be? Because Jonah being here is very fucking random.
Right.
Well, it turns out that Justin Caggiano reached out to him, and Justin was taking pictures. And Jonah just tagged along, and probably because he knew Yakuza J would be in town, and this is how it happened, just by happenstance.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about this for me was, like, I didn't know what the hell you were doing. I knew you were going, and then all of a sudden you're on the way home, and you're like, yeah, triple threat match against Jonah and Senfonte. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's fucking cool. And another thing about this is, like, this crowd is heavily GBYWN era influence. So, like, you were the first one of us to go hit the Northeast GBYWN guys. Like, even in the background, we have people that I didn't meet until much. Oh, crazy. I love the fucking bedtime.
So this is in Connecticut?
Yeah, this is in Connecticut,
So that ring that you guys wrestled in was also in Connecticut?
No.
Okay, so they just said, we'll
like,
take
hey,
it.
you know what, we'll just post a show a couple states away.
I see.
While people are in America.
Swanee off the top.
Fun fact about that, Sky Bynes, standing right there to the right, didn't realize. She's like, how did he get up there? And, like, I literally crawled right next to him. He didn't even realize it. And I remember when I put Jonah in the, here's the finish, the Brain Eater.
Oh, my.
Put him into submission. I was like, you're going to tap. He's like, what? What? Do I tap? I'm like, no. It's fucking with it. And then I remember on the train, on the way up, I started coming up with spots for the next Ground Zero. I was really excited about
stuff, and we're planning some stuff for Ground Zero. We're going to bring in a couple of new people to be full-time SWC members at the start of 2010.
Yep.
What?
We already won Fed of the Year, and the only thing you can go is up, so we just kept pushing, right? How do we get better? And the cool thing about these people that we added is that, now, I'm not going to say that I know this for sure, outside of maybe Connecticut, since we just brought up all their dudes, but I can't think of many other home-fed, local-fed
Everybody,
people
welcome to the second season of SWC.
that could say that they have 7 people on their main roster that main evented a Super Show.
We had a big
7.
fan
Yeah.
base, huge success.
And I remember this idea.
GBYWN Fan of the Year for
This is our first
2009.
one in 2010, so we're addressing the awards that we had won publicly, while also sowing.
We decided to make our fan a little better this year. And I was also
okay, cool. Thanks, Rick.
Yep.
I like how Kevin
But I'm
just
gonna
put
step away
chapstick
from
on the
this one.
entire
Love
time.
it, yeah.
Good little detail there. But this was sowing the idea for something from later. I had won match of the year, so I was like, you know what, it'd be funny if I call out Lee Andrews, because Shawn Michaels and
with the
Undertaker.
cadence on the Undertaker.
Yeah. And I literally memorized it word for word, like I can beat you, because Shawn didn't beat Undertaker.
I'd like to thank all
And so I kind of threw out the challenge and just legit just to make myself laugh.
It's an honor.
Like I didn't know where I was
Speaking of
going
making
with
people
that.
laugh, JP's killing Dominic in the back there, and Dominic wants to say something to me real bad. Like you see him leaning. There it is.
Lee
Hey,
Andrews.
hey, I'm trying to say,
Do you remember what I said?
I love you, and we're gonna be best friends in 10 years.
So on this
That's-
night,
that's
I'm
probably-
throwing out the challenge.
And I remember
And then you're like, I have to
You
tell
and
Nutter
me,
how much I love
one
Rick.
more
No, I
time.
can't. We're in a promo.
BYS.
I
can
I
beat
ended up
you
kind of like scripting out this whole idea, this whole opening thing, and we wanted to address some of the things. Hey, you know what? Let's do let's kind of acknowledge ring outs and no pinfalls like in the ring.
Yeah, it allows us to be more structured, and
Yeah.
we could have different style matches.
Yeah, and
if
like
we-
now's the time to address it. But I was like, the idea is like we're supposed to be like this is a big deal for us. And
Can you be professional for one time?
oh fuck!
I knew. I was gonna say we're acting up. We're not paying attention. Is this the fatal 4-way?
So this is the Fatal 4-Way. Look at you. You just can't help but smile. You love every
This
second.
is like my most fondest match.
I'd love to hear that.
As far as like just how I feel about a match and just the way I felt that day and the things that I remember, like this match was
It's too cool to be
so
shirtless,
high,
man.
so high on the list.
I love to hear that. And that's another thing. It really wasn't that cold this day. This was after a giant, 10-inch blizzard, and this was just what was left over a couple weeks
Right.
later.
Yeah,
But this is March. What will this be? March 10th or something like that. March 11th. So 3/11.
Yeah.
Shout out to me wearing Yakuza J's gear that I just got from Connecticut.
Once
That would
again,
be-
just like the tech thing.
yeah, that would be the gear that the first time I met Yakuza J. And then Nutter, if you're watching, I lent that to you. I still have yet to receive that back. Would love to get that gear back.
He would love to get it back.
Legit, I think
Yeah.
I look really good in it. It means
I
a
know
lot to
you
me.
absolutely do. You absolutely do. And I always thought it was crazy that Chewy wore those, and
this
they
is where I
also
get
fit you.
screwed up. Y'all knocked the wind out of me right here.
Yeah, look at your face. It went black.
And now every single person is now on top of me, which is so much worse.
Right. I remember a lot of the spots I came up with on the train because I had 8 hours of no iPod.
Oh,
or
TKO.
anything.
For this match?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff I was just thinking on the
Spot of the
so
match right
This
here.
right here.
Yeah,
Why
sorry-
didn't we just
sorry,
redo
Josh.
this?
Because Josh is dead. That had to suck.
I threw him off the base. There was I
That
love
was
that
so
move.
clean, so
there was
clean.
so much regret in the decision to throw him that I immediately had to run up to him, but he was fine.
So the idea for this was those should have been synchronized. I
Yeah.
I
that.
remember,
Yeah.
So the pins were all off, and I just had to put that up. JP won. So that match was a #1 contendership for a title shot at our first premium live event
Yep.
called New Beginnings. We had an idea that
Bro,
in
I
2010,
can't stand his gear. I cannot
so
stand
many people
it.
have told me, how did you wrestle him wearing that diaper?
He just looks like he's in Gucci's.
That's
Right.
why he wore those. He specifically was like, if I get all white trunks, it'll look like I'm just in my underwear.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though, I fuck with this match really heavy. I loved wrestling Nutter, and
Yeah,
this
he's
is
great.
this is one of my favorite Ground Zero matches that I got to have. That's no, it's not even close. It's
This is
really
one of
high
the best
up there.
ground zeros.
It is good. I mean, the main event leaves a little to be desired, but it's not a big deal.
What is it?
We'll see.
Yes, we will.
We're leading up though to our first premium live event because we had a plan that in 2010 we were going to have a show every single week, and every fourth one would be a pay-per-view-esque situation.
Did not remember that. That's wild.
So Ground Zero 21, 22, and 23 were the first 3 Saturdays back to back to back after that, because that was the easiest day to get everybody together, and Mount Morris knew to come up every Saturday. So it was like a planned thing that we were going to do this all year long, weeklies and pay-per-views. And we did make it to the first pay-per-view.
Yeah. I want to point out that the reason why
So he tried to pin me too many times. I hit him.
I see.
the gear that I was wearing were biker shorts on Chewy, and they look like biker shorts, but on me they just look like long tights.
Right,
so
yeah.
I don't really fit in them as well as you think.
It's just a different look. Yeah.
I remember I would end up housing Nutter and Kevin for this.
Oh,
for
that's
these,
cool.
For these bits, and we had some pretty fun times on chat roulette. I remember
Oh,
just
boy.
like trying to creep out the people on the other end of it. Like, how naked can we get, and how can we?
Yeah, eat my knee, bitch, and then a lariat.
Boom!
Wow.
That's a Sean Selby lariat.
Is he wearing a cup?
Finally.
Yep,
Oh,
working
I
that
got
leg.
the ankle.
I don't mean to stare at his sack, but is there a cup in there or
I
something?
think so.
It's very pronounced.
He did the scissor kick anyway.
Lost the weight, grew the cock.
Well, his name is Nutter. Maybe it's just the balls.
Main event SWC championship between Genocide and Hack Edgerman. Look
Hey,
at
there's
that,
the belt.
dude.
That's his first championship defense.
Yes. No. He defended it against me at the end of.
He's all grizzled.
Oh, that's
He's
right,
come
that's right,
back
that's
with
right.
long hair. He's been gone for what, a month in real
Yeah,
time.
right, yeah,
But what
basically.
feels like years.
Well, no, this is
3 months.
yeah.
This is a
he didn't
rematch.
wrestle in January, so
That's right.
This is a rematch from Santa's a Fat Boy.
yep,
Oh.
yep. Safb. With much better weather conditions and not much of a better match. I don't know. These two didn't necessarily jive together in wrestling for some reason. It was
So you're
weird.
saying this is the main event? That,
Too much athleticism.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't like, especially in the full form that I watched. Like it just wasn't what you would or what I might expect. Maybe.
Right. Well, keep in mind, Kevin, while athletic, isn't really fundamentally talented.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like he's athletic, but is he a good wrestler?
Yeah,
You know,
I
he
feel
can
that.
get carried.
I feel that.
he has interesting body language.
Right.
It's like it benefits his character.
Oh,
like
that was
the goofiness. Like that, the way he fell out
Yeah.
of that was. I enjoyed that about him a lot.
Right. Ugh.
He's very strong too.
He is.
Hit him with the Merc. That's
Yeah.
got to be all three. Good Merc. Yep. And Hack Edgerman is still your SWC
You
champion.
wouldn't expect him to be the guy killing everyone with that body and hair, but
Absolutely.
there he is holding it up.
So Dominic, that was your fondest wrestling centric, like mainly just wrestling day, right?
Yeah, I just always loved that match because it was so ETW. You know what I mean? Like the four guys, like it was unplanned. I had no clue what was going on when you guys were talking about the advancements. I just knew that we were going to fight.
As it goes through this whole storyline, right? It's just like you're borderline oblivious to everything.
Yeah. I'm an absolute part-timer, and I get in, and not only do we perform in that match, I'm also just like at that point in my life, like I physically feel really good.
Yeah.
So just to get out there and like, just with no practice, no,
Yeah, Josh knows.
anything going on. Yeah. And to do that was so much fun. But yeah, the two things I remember specifically, this always cracked me up. So whenever you suplex me, Josh, he throws a kick and he hits me in the back, and I get the wind knocked out of me. And like, I don't have the ability to tell anybody that.
Nay, yeah.
Because I'm like, and they all start flipping on me, which is the absolute
Right.
worst thing you want in that situation.
Yep.
But at one point, Steve kind of realizes, and Josh realizes, and
Fucking
and
professionals over here.
And-
Sorry, continue.
both of them
JP was
both of them decide to put me in a submission to kind of just relax me. Now,
Rest hold.
Steve's was fine. Josh puts me in an absolute like chokehold, and I'm just like, this is not working at all.
We're having the opposite effect here, buddy.
But that is not why I threw him off the base.
No,
that was
yeah.
for
Pretty
the
valid
last
reason.
15 years.
I know we practiced that. Yeah. I know we practiced it. And it was fine. And what happened was when he came up,
You lost your...
yeah, I lost a little bit of my balance, and there was no way I could have stopped him.
Right.
So I just committed, and he basically hit the border
Yeah.
of the base and kind of like folded
Like
in
on his
half.
side.
Yeah.
And I ran into the snow, and I was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And he was fine, but like, he wasn't like jolly fine,
Right.
You know
No,
what
he
I
was
mean?
not happy with it.
And I was like, "Oh, I feel bad." But,
Yeah.
But I
And-
mean,
and-
afterwards, it was
In hindsight, I should have probably switched that idea and had you run up onto him.
Yeah, I
Have
would've-
him be the base. But I just kind of always assumed that you were like the stronger of the two.
I mean,
but
honestly,
like you were pretty slim back then.
Up until that point, before like Josh would ever work out, that would be the case. But as soon as he really started like working on his fitness, he
yeah.
Yeah, right.
blew up past me immediately.
Yeah.
So I I would say in that time frame, absolutely, he would have been the better one to catch me.
Yeah.
But he probably had better hops than me too.
Probably.
Like I'm coming in with no practice.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You've
Like,
been wasting time well for the last 5 months.
Like, so my only thing that I have going into that match is the athleticism and the ability to like do the little flip move that I think I did it with.
Like the power slam thing.
Yeah,
Tilt-a-whirl
like
power slam.
just
That was
things
pretty
like
cool.
that. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to do younger. So it was, I don't know, just it was really fun, and the setting and what I'm wearing and like it's all burned into my brain.
Hell
Like, It was
yeah.
a very fun day.
I was so stoked for that 4-way spot. Like that was one that I came up with that whole opening thing on the train, and I came up with that fatal
opening's so
4-way
good.
spot on the train, and I was like, I am so fucking stoked to do this because I thought about it and I visualized it in my mind's eye for like 8 hours. I was like, this is perfect. Okay, we'll have the picnic table there. Maybe we'll go for superplex. Boom, noggin knocker. Oh, I'll make sure one falls one way and one falls the other way. That way it looks like it's not so planned. And then we'll have Josh run up. And then like, so stoked for it. Yeah. And the fact that Josh got hurt, that sucks. But what upsets me more is the fact that we didn't just do it again. Like we could have
If
just.
I
cut-
were Josh, you would not be doing it.
That's
again.
a good point. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have wanted it again.
We could have just cut to him and you on the picnic table, and you just pick him up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
then
But
just
to what
cut.
degree did he get hurt? Because I think he just had some scratches. He
Yeah.
actually
No,
wasn't
he
injured.
wasn't in the worst shape, but I'm like, if it were me and somebody had thrown me off the side like that and I landed like that, I would not.
Will not be excited.
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it
But
again.
like, man, that could have been so fucking
if there's
cool.
anyone I could have did that to, I'm glad it was him because he absolutely understood
Yeah.
what happened in the scenario where nobody else maybe would have, just because the chemistry that we had. So
Yeah,
it was
right.
like, you know, there really was
He
no
knew
turning
that
back.
you didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, but if it would have been me that did that, he might have felt a certain type of way.
Exactly, yeah, 'cause
So
it's
like,
like-
it's good that it was both of you on both ends. You know,
Because he says, "Oh, I never wrestle Rick all the time. Of course, I get hurt, right? Something
Yeah.
like that." Where in this scenario, it's like, "Well, I felt you kind of cave there. I get it.
Yep.
Yeah."
I will say I did end up using that spot in a professional wrestling match, and it got an incredible fucking reaction.
hell yeah.
That's dope.
Fucking yes.
It really, the whole opening was really cool.
Yeah.
I remember waiting to get kicked in the back. I loved it.
What do we got next, Rickolas?
So that was building us up to new beginnings. JP is going to get a title shot. And we already knew at this time that we kind of wanted to make a little move with Josh, too. So we start building. It's basically like JP's been built. It's been like a year of him kicking people out of CTK. He wins this match. He gets his title shot. We did everything we want to do with JP. So the next person on the list is to build Josh. So who better than to start putting Josh over than
JP didn't get his title shot yet.
No, he will be, but
Oh,
he
yeah,
does
yeah,
now.
yeah.
As of
Sorry,
right now, he
established.
has his title
Oh
shot.
snap!
So Sick Rick, the kid with the hot bar, is going to come out and do Josh's thing. Josh is going to come out. I don't know.
That's funny.
I remember when the plaid shorts were the absolute thing.
Yep.
Fantastic.
And I had
The baby blues.
I had let my hair grow out long enough that I was finally able to shave the sides and do what I've been trying to do for like 6 years.
Why did it take you 6 years to get a haircut?
No, I've been trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
Oh,
with my
I get
hair
what you're
for
saying.
6
I
years.
get what you're saying.
Was Josh in the mask in the 4-way?
Yeah. This is when he really started to wear the mask. Even in the opening promo, I noticed he had his hat over his eyes.
Yeah, you can see his body weight's completely gone. Like he's all like lean now.
Yeah.
He's not buffed up yet, but
Oh,
that
yeah,
was cool.
wow. I think I remember seeing that. I've seen this whole match.
yeah, I'm sure you have. You've probably seen a lot of this show because you were
You
interested
were
in
kind
like,
of
what happened next.
somewhat involved. This would have been March 24th. Last show was March 11th, 66 degrees.
Yeah, beautiful weather, right?
This one, March 18th at 65 degrees. So we're definitely starting to feel spring.
Yeah, and think about that. There was still like 2 inches of snow on the ground, and it was 66 degrees outside.
Such a good feeling.
Also, keep in mind that this is the year of the snowpocalypse.
Right.
And I wonder if that's residual from
It
that
definitely
snowstorm.
was. It 100% was.
Uh-oh. Oh, look at that.
Excellent.
He does that there, and I was like, cool psychology, bro. Arm wringer at the end, and Steve's like, oh, he's supposed to be the pro. Whoa, no.
I faked you faking him out.
His body control looks so good at this time.
Ugh.
Like the
Were
way
you
he
using
was
that
able
as
to like land like a
Yeah.
gymnast and
It,
not
it was an
teeter.
A finisher.
Ooh.
Hit the Larry. Oh, no.
Wow.
Rolled
Good
me
way.
up, got the big victory. And the funny thing was, after that match, he whispered to me, he's like, take my mask off and fucking throw it. Because it kept falling off during the match. So I did. And then afterwards, he's like, hey, can you cut that out?
Yeah,
like,
I immediately regretted
I
that.
definitely don't. Oh, look. So in
I
the
see it.
background
I see it.
there, I'm going to go back a split second just so everybody else can see it. We'll go back to the start of Steve's match here. Makes a lot more sense.
First time Scott and I have ever worked together. I've known him since 2006. Never tangled with the beast, Val Victoria.
I like how Scott's walking away during
know,
your
yeah.
entrance.
So look in the background over here. Do you see the guy in the all plat or no? What is it?
Canadian
Yeah,
tuxedo.
was it denim, all denim. Yeah, the guy walking in the background through the woods in all denim. He's gonna come up after this.
Is he not a member?
He is not. No.
What a good sequence.
Great sequence. I love the jumps and the fake out and
Yeah.
you timing the jump. Everything's good. Boom.
Ugh. And I remember at this point noticing Kevin is, you see, he's speaking to somebody that has joined our group, but not noticing what is really going on.
Good thing he picked Kevin,
Yep.
of all people.
Well, I think it was more so the opposite.
Just mean for you guys.
There's our boy Eric in the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big E.
What a bump from Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. He always found a way to do one.
God, I love doing that on big boys because the momentum is just like, whoa, I'm still rolling. What is happening? Ah!
Very, very good music video stuff. This is my prime of editing, by the way. This run of Ground Zeroes looks really cool.
Look at me making him a big man. Look at this counter.
Love
I
it.
couldn't do that again.
I tried to do that later on because of that with Eric Douglas, and he couldn't even do it.
That was probably just an idea that I probably also had on the train. Look at this pin. What a weird pin. I don't
That
know.
is such a dominant move.
Yep.
yeah.
Champ J.
JP.
Pizzle got the DC Doom 2.
That was your Facebook picture, I think.
Genocide.
Pretty sure.
That screenshot. How many times have you worked with Kevin at this point,
I think this has to be at least 3
It's
or
like,
4.
yeah, I was going to say 4.
including ETW as well?
I mean, we're both amazing athletes.
Yeah, right. BYS 1.
Yeah, they both bump. They're both kind of athletic. Neither know how to wrestle. That's great. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Wait, where's that award? Hold your award up.
He said, I'm sorry, Kevin.
JP,
man.
where did you get those kick pads?
Online.
You know what?
Are those the ones that I painted in?
Yeah, I think you just put them inside out because they look hot.
Like sexy?
Yeah, they look good. Like they look sharp. The fact that they're so clean. Like
Oh,
white
like
gear doesn't
Kip
last.
up.
Oh.
Backstabber. There was a little delay there. I did the best I could on the edit.
Ugh.
I love that move, by the way. That was a really cool move.
Look at that. Oh my God. That's like a 90-degree torque. Ugh.
Like that. Didn't know you guys were leaving the ring there.
I'm not sure we were supposed to.
Oh, you were.
I mean, the Boz.
Uh-oh. Wow, he's strong.
Oh,
Oh, that was good.
And like their recoveries were cool as
Yeah, it looked authentic.
Yeah.
Because it was. Oof.
Pull my pants up.
No, that's all right.
shit. Nope.
You know what happens when your pants are down around him.
Oh, no.
That was nice.
And now, after that, we've come to the best Ground Zero match that ever happened.
Dude, the Mohawk.
The Mohawk.
The Mohawk.
So you were talking about his hair. Normally what would happen is he would let it grow to some stupid length, and before a yard show, whenever he's about to shave it, he would come out just one time with the Mohawk, and then the next day cut it off because he didn't like use it in the day-to-day. But it gave him special powers, and the 2 or 3 times that he did it, every time he had a great match, and this is the top of the line.
I remember Nutter was really stoked for this. He had wanted this match since JAS3.
Right.
He'd been stoked for this.
Yeah.
So Nutter was really, finding his voice.
As he should be, because, he gets a chance to go up against the Backyard Wrestler of 2009.
In his gutchies.
In his gutsy. And, yeah, that's okay, because Ed's wearing his dad's underwear.
JP, I think your brother was here for this show.
Might have been.
I want to say, I think he was just squatting down right there. There's Jimmy P.
Jimmy
Wow,
P.
Cameo.
not
he's
dead
still
yet.
hanging around.
Cameo, but too scared to get involved. He realized that the time had passed him by.
I agree
there's
with
your
that.
brother.
Like, even though you were being a little sarcastic
No, I
sounding
was being
there,
dead serious.
that's 100%
He
what
was
was
way
going
too
on.
intimidated.
Yeah. He definitely would have had a match against Ed like leading off the show, maybe. But as soon as he saw what was going on, he's just there to smoke Newports.
Yeah. Ugh. And this is Ed's heel run, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's a heel champion?
Yeah, Ed's whole on bad guy right now. This isn't just my favorite Ground Zero match. Other people that have watched pretty much all of our media says that this is the best Ground Zero match that had happened. It's just something about it, man.
It's good because it's being presented like it's a main event match
Yeah.
for the championship. And I was just thinking, this isn't New Beginnings.
No.
This is a preliminary.
Yep.
Where'd the Denim Dasher go?
We'll talk about it.
All right.
He went home. Probably to the hospital.
Oh,
Damn, that was
man.
unusual for him.
yeah, right. That was usual for Ed right there, though. Fuck a motherfucker up. Mark, that's got to be all three.
Oh! Is that the first time someone's kicked out of that?
Yes, it is. Oh, no. Well, I kicked out of one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
no. It's Scott. Jawjacker.
Oh, he kicked him. That was an
Scissor
accident,
kick
right?
to the
So
face.
because Scott, when he wrestled, his endurance was high, but when you get a pointed referee, your endurance automatically goes down to 10%.
He's tired. He just
He had a
wrestled me.
match.
Yeah, but I mean, one hit, that's all it takes to get the ref down.
I mean, if I would have just did that in my match, I would
Had to
have
get
foot.
lucky. So that brings us to, as JP called him, the Denim Dasher. His name is Dave.
Denim Dasher Dave.
Sure don't want to wrestle? Wrestle a quick match with me? We'll grapple.
Kevin,
What's
say
up?
a little something.
Oh, this is Dave, my
This
best
is
friend. Dave broke
We're
his
filming
ribs.
this for the documentary.
Cool. I don't like
Podcast.
touching men at all.
Oh,
Now, Dave was running from the cops. He's been drinking all last night and all this morning. He broke his ribs jumping off a train, running from the cops. Walked up this hill. He's really thirsty. He doesn't care if he dies. That's what I've learned about Dave.
He's a great listener.
Don't let it die slow.
Don't let him die slow. Blow his brains out. Don't let him die of starvation or thirst.
Film it. I don't give a fuck.
You don't care. Cut his throat. We don't film it.
This is during my match, right?
No, because the camera would have been on
That's
you.
right. That's right. But at one point, I mean, look, Kevin was clearly talking to him for a while to get all this, backstory. First of all, I look over in my match with Scott, and I see him approaching as I'm wrestling. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
And then I'm doing my shit with Scott, and I look over and I see he's now laying down, and Kevin is sitting there talking to him. And that is very goddamn distracting.
Of course, yeah.
No wonder I lost.
Dude, this picture's sick.
Yeah, that was just your brother's handiwork. And
I want to say Nutter probably hurt his boys there.
yeah, that's what it looks like, right? Yeah, so Dustin showed up and took some pictures for us for the first time, and he will show up again in Backyard's Primacy 4, and we have a ton of Dustin Weiser pictures from that show, which big shout out to Dust.
Great photographer.
I just wanted to show that.
He should do it more.
He should.
So I spoke to him, and he might be, and by might be, I mean is helping out with the show.
Give me Dustin. It's on.
I'll wrestle him.
Dusty Wise.
What do we got next?
So next up, it is our last bit of media for the night. Thank God this show's been running forever. We have Ground Zero episode 23.
23.
Which is the go-home show for New Beginnings, our first premium live event ever.
Dude could not have a less consistent hairstyle.
Nah.
Ed has had 5 hairstyles.
So me and Josh hit our thing. Josh is maskless here, even though he told me to not do it. He did it. I don't know.
I'm the #1 contender, and I'm wrestling with the champion in a tag
Strange
match.
Bedfellows.
Someone's booking weirdly because he is quirky.
Strange Bedfellows, bro. It happens all the time. So me and Josh had just wrestled the week before as well. And we decided, you beat me with a roll-up. I like you. We should be a team.
Those pallets. Fuck those pallets, man.
Oh, those are new.
Yeah.
Why are they there?
Do you remember how we got those there, JP? All those pallets?
I don't.
Do you remember potentially your dad having a big red truck?
Yes.
You don't remember driving that truck full of pallets into this woods multiple of times?
I remember doing that more than once.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. So that's how they got there, and we'll talk about what it's about. But they are fucking everywhere.
I remember, obviously, the idea, was coming. But the fact that we're starting to accumulate them, it's like, let's use them as a turnbuckle, like a corner post.
Yep.
Now we have one adjacent to the...
that was a cool spot.
Yeah, that was. We have one
I see
adjacent
what
to
you
the
mean.
picnic table.
It complements backyard wrestling a lot.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool, but what's like terrible looking are like the 10 or 15 unstacked pallets just laying around in the
it's
background.
currently a mess.
Yeah.
Those probably ended up there because we probably got tired of dragging them. We're just like, fuck this, I'm putting it to... Okay.
That's when you have another super show and you actually just say, psych, we're moving all these.
Yeah.
You guys are already here. Okay.
And then that.
This is what does it.
So what happened there, JP?
I tore my rotator cuff.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Can you rewind? I want to watch that.
Yeah.
I was thinking, how did he being you? I'm like, how did JP hurt his arm? In that moment, that's when I realized that's
Right
what it
here?
was.
Yep.
So is that your right arm then?
That was my right arm. I tore my left.
Really?
Yeah, I see because you reached over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go back once more? Because now I know which arm to look for.
Yeah, so you could see like his right arm being real free, and then he reaches over and grabs his left arm.
How confident were you that you could finish the match?
I don't know how I did it. And honestly, I remember it hurting, but like it didn't hurt that bad.
Probably
Until
got worse
after.
the more you're doing this shit.
Right.
Almost as if your adrenaline took over and you maybe made it an afterthought, like not thinking, I might have hurt myself, but I didn't tear something.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I got you.
I mean, a lot of this stuff hurts. A lot of this stuff hurts. So it's kind of like in the back of your mind. And then it progressively started hurting more.
Oh, that probably didn't help either. The fact that
he was
Rick was pulling your arms
and
over
you
your
did
head.
one of these at one point. Yeah,
You definitely worsened it.
And then here comes Ed, and that is the most unfortunate part about all this is that even though JP just tore his rotator cuff, he was booked to be in the main event in the championship match against Ed at the big PLE coming up.
Got thinking about New Beginnings and
So
realized
this
I'm not
promo
booked
was
for New
actually
Beginnings. And that's
so
a week
long.
away.
Good.
And
So
that means
long.
it's going to be a big,
I cut out
it's kind of a big deal.
98% of
First
it
big
to
event
be
of
We don't even need any of it.
2010,
Yeah, we
and
do.
I'm not booked. That kind of rubs me the wrong way. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Are you booked for New Beginnings?
I avoided you. All right? I was scared of you, Rick. You want answers? Here's your answers. I was scared of it all. I'm up here. I'm traveling out to PA, to Tennessee. I'm doing everything. I'm on top of the world. I'm living a dream. Next thing I know, it's over.
That sounds sick.
And I come
Yeah, you
here,
do.
and I was scared. I was scared that you wouldn't appreciate, and everybody else wouldn't appreciate everything that I worked for, everything that I did, from wrestling on a trampoline with my friends.
That's
to
you guys.
doing events every month, having crowds, everything. I worked hard, and I was scared that it wouldn't get recognized. But the thing is about New Beginnings, where I'm going with this. You and I wrestled twice in a singles match, once in a tag match. Every match that we've had, something's gone down. You deserve better.
I do. You're damn right I do.
How about a match at New Beginnings? We need to find out who the better man is, Rick. And even if you do have a little bit of hate for me, you can get it out. I can get it out for you, and we can destroy each other, but we'll find out who the better man is.
A promise isn't enough. I need a little something more than that. How about, if anything, as you said, screwy, out of the ordinary, shady, something that shouldn't have happened goes down at this show that you caused, whether you win or lose, you can't wrestle here anymore.
Anything. You know what? I'll even make sure I tell everybody not to get involved, because if they do, I'm done with everything. Not even just SWC.
Are you being genuine
And
in
you
this
got it.
character when you say that? Or are you still being like shady?
Who's to say?
Uh-huh. He got you asking the right question.
Dun dun dun.
Hey, listen, whenever you guys don't answer me, I know something's coming. I've learned my lesson.
So another instance where Steve doesn't know who he's going to wrestle, so let's just try and get that one back against Super Phoenix,
Yeah.
right?
50-50 booking.
Is there any chance you lose this match?
Fuck no.
Come on.
I studied tape, okay?
He's not going to go for the blockbuster again
That's
this
clearly
time.
Ed.
No, it's
in that
not. It's
mask.
Pablo Lopez.
I don't think Pablo
Ed
owns
wears
those
shorts.
sweatpants.
Yeah, Edward Shorts.
Ed wears shorts every time. And Ed
And-
doesn't even... Ed has a real face, not like a cartoon mask.
That's a mask.
Oh.
That's a mask. Okay? Ed doesn't wrestle in a mask.
I'm going to buy the mystique you're selling.
There we go. He did it.
He did it. So that is all of the media that we have to watch for tonight.
Boo.
It was a fun one. It was a good little ride.
It's only been
Sean
2
Selby
hours.
getting absolutely smashed.
Sorry.
But that's all we got for the beginning of 2010. And this was just the start of some really fucking cool stuff. So 2009 was, as I described it last time, the thunder. But I think it made sense in my brain because normally if there's a storm going on, you'll hear some thunder and then you'll see the lightning, right? So 2009 was the thunder in the distance that made its way to our eardrums. And 2010 is where the lightning strikes right in front of our faces. And it is a hell of a ride from here on out. And the next episode we're going to do is Backyard Supremacy 4, along with our first ever premium live event, as I like calling it because WWE came up with something weird. New Beginnings. And we'll have Ed back for that episode.
Will JP be medically cleared to compete at New Beginnings? That's something I want to see.
It would be nice, especially with that rotator cuff. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it. And
especially if they recommend surgery.
I'm surprised that we can get away with doing all these on Saturdays because this dude's still racing cars at the time too, right?
It's true. That would explain the getaway.
Yeah, the whole chase. And the chase isn't just about JP. The chase is about our chase for greatness because we proved we could be good and now it's our time to see if we can be great. And we'll talk about that more on the next episode. But for now, I would like to end this episode by asking Dominic a question.
Oh boy.
What is your baby's name going to be?
I think you should name your baby Sean Selby.
Yes. It is going to be Shawn Jovi Selby. No, the baby's name is Golden Track Media.